two groups if I'd just done that.
You think? You think that would have been played better for you? Maybe.
Yeah, honestly.
I had D+, Thundertalk, and 4MV in my top 4. And right now it's looking like maybe only one of them is going to be able to make their way on in there. They're competing for one of the 3 direct invite spots to the London finals. But it's not out of the question that Influence Raid Force can also fall
Let's
out
go!
of the race. Team Liquid
ဒီနေ့ကျွန်တော်နောက်ဆုံးရဒီနေ့ final ဘယ်တင်းတမ်းလေကျွန်တော်ကြည့်အောင်ဒါရင်ခုန်လိုက်ရဟာလားအမတ်တွေကမပြည့်ဘူး
who are sat up on the hill to the east side of Painan. But Team Liquid is safe for now.
Like that, lobbing a little first aid kit at your teammate. Sometimes needed. Especially when you're in a position like this, you don't really want to peek out too far. You know, a lot of teams are going to be congregating around that southeast side. 7.2 average Elam on day 2. That is wild. That's an incredible day.
I'm more interested in 3.7 from day 3. I mean, yesterday for Brute Force, I mean, it didn't feel bad. It felt maybe less dynamic than their day 2. Sure, that much more of a drop-off is kind of crazy. Still, 3.7 is quite respectable. And I suppose I should note that it's definitely not a super low tally. It's still pretty decent to be getting about 4 points a match.
Yeah, also, they were breaking out 1,000-point average every single time, which is a feat. Donkey, similar locations on the map down towards the middle of the circle for CAG, and for Donkey, they're up towards that north side. Both teams, 84 points. The tiebreaker goes over towards Count Voin Donkey, but CAG Osaka looking to overtake them here. These two teams are so neck and neck when it comes to getting into a survival stage or going home.
D+ have pushed down the hill. They're going into the Thundertalk compound on the south side, but they need to get rid of AJ, and he's not going to go down without a fight. Around the corner, he sprays a second, and D+ are down. The nades from across the road to assist, and a massive hold against D+ here by Thundertalk. Such an important fight, Blank, not only for that position on the circle, but for the tables as well. D+ Kia get 2 points on this match, but Thundertalk are breathing down their neck.
Did not like that at all from D+. I think you're going to go for that crash. You had to go for it a circle ago. By the time you get to this one, you know there should be teams off towards your northwest side. And Brute Force actually get a couple of shots over towards them, taking down their backstop, which made their lives so much harder. As soon as Thundertalks were in that recovery stage up against Team Liquid, I think you had to make that choice of let's just go for the crash. And this is the problem with D+ recently. They've been very, very timid on their plays, and they are timid again here versus the Thundertalks, who absolutely will just get a better game off the back of going for that crash, when honestly D+ had a better chance at it. Nice shots from Shifu there. Will find one. Doesn't have any nades to work with, and no meds either. And 2 nades already been brought.
Shifu eliminated place on the table. 1 point this game. It's not enough. Safe. They'll have another crack at it in the next 5. They are going to run out faster than they like. Voin Donkey moving up the top of the hill, leaving their compound, flexing all the way out, Blank. They really want to clear their back to allow them a little bit more opportunity to move in. They had a compound that sat to the east side of Brute Force right now. They've given that up almost entirely to go for this fly out sweet style.
This is a great play from honestly, I really respect it. I also respect the play coming through from CAG Osaka. They immediately north side. However, what I think Count Voin Donkey is going to try to do is just sweep. I think that's a very, very smart decision to go for in terms of just trying to get more points out of this game. Fortunately, they step out a little bit.
What happened?
Oh, towards that southwest side.
Oh man, I don't see
eliminations is very, very good. Here is Cellcom Digi Alliance up against RRQ.
Stand and Cellcom Digi Alliance go down. Blank, RRQ do this every so often, right? They're making strong moves. It's going well for them. I feel like diminish their forward hold a little bit, but now trapped in a little bit of a valley here with shots coming out from both ways to make it really tough in the approach.
DRS နေနဲ့ဒီတပွဲကမ်းပတ်ရင်တော့သူ့အနေနဲ့ဟိုပြုတ်မှာတော့မဟုတ်တော့တော့ပေါ့နော်တော့ game 1ကနေကမ်းပတ်မယ်ဆိုရင်တော့ကျွန်တော်တကယ်ကို survival တော့ကျွန်တော်တက်မယ်လို့တော့ကျွန်တော်ပြောလို့ရတယ် DRS က option ကအတင်ပဲဖြစ်ပါဗျာ
I don't understand CAG Osaka sometimes. The compound to play it.
စိတ်လုံးတယ်
I know that they're
ဘလို့
backing
ဖြစ်
out
မနေ့က
for that
မိရမနပေါ်လုံး
position.
တူဆောင်လာ DRS
Void Donkey will pick themselves up.
ရပြီ
Another
okay
elimination over
ကျေးဇူး
towards
ပါ
Apollo.
YouTube app ကျွန်တော် break တက်တယ်
Yeah, they had a safe spot to just get a decent game of
ဒီ
the
ကိနဲ့
back
ဖုန်းရ
of
ပြီ
the
ကြံ
four
ခဲ့မှ
players.
တင်တယ်ဗျာ
And they could have played this
အဲ
side
မနေ့က
down
မနေ့က
towards
တော်ကြီးပြောလိုက်တယ်
southeast
နော်တော်ကြီးပြောတယ်
easily.
နော်ဒီကိကိုဒီကိမရအောင်နော်ဒီကိ
Yeah, very,
အချာ
very
တာ
odd.
ဖြစ်နေတော့ဒီ
In
နေ့
comes
ပြင်မရအောင်ဒီနေ့
Void
ပြင်
Donkey
မိ
now
တယ်
finding initial
ဒီပြင်
knock
မိ
towards
မိတယ်ဒီနေ့
CAG that's guarded
ဒီအကြောင်း
down.
မရှိဘူး
Zeta
136
is up towards the building.
နောက်
Knows
သ
the
တင်
player
ထပ်ပြီးတော့
inside.
ကျွန်
Just
တော်ပြတ်
providing
သွား
a
ရ
little
ပြီ
bit
ကျွန်
of
တော်ဂျ
cover.
ပန်တင်းနေ
And
ဒီ
a
မှာ
great
VD တွေကုန်တော့ဒီ high
couple of
ground တော့
shots
ကျွန်တော်
from
ဝင်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်
Furia,
push လာပြီ
holding
ဖြစ်
down
ပါ
the
ဗျ
Will pick
အာ
up
ဂျိုက
7
ဆိုလဲကျွန်တော်နောက်ဆုံး
eliminations for Void Donkey. A
one
wonderful
lap တော့
start
ကျန်နေသေး
to
တယ်
their day.
တီတီ
CAG
3ယောက်လုံးကျွန်တော် AC
somewhat
လေးပဲ
throws
ကျွန်
it
တော်ထိန်း
away.
ထားတော့မယ်တင်းနေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်5တင်းပြောလို့မရှိတဲ့ဒီနေ့မှာကျွန်တော်အာဂျူကတခါတည်းကျွန်တော် DRS ပဲကျွန်တော်ဖြတ်ချထားပြီးလိုက်တာအာဂျူဒီဘက်မှာကျွန်တော်ဒီ10ကီလောက်ကျွန်တော်ရသွားပြီနော် point နေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်83မှတ်ဒီမှာကျွန်တော် PFD ဟာမနေ့ကလေးက consistent ဖြစ်တာဒီနေ့အထိပဲနော်အဲ့ PFG ကတတ်တော့မယ်ထင်တယ်ရောဘလို့ကြီးတော့
not really getting stuck in. Let's see if they would have needed to earlier on, because sometimes when you're playing for those quiet lane games, you just allow teams to make moves around you and give them
PFD နော်ဟုတ်တယ်နော်တိုက်လို့ရေ
for this
ဒီ
position.
group မှာလေတကယ်အဲ့လိုကြီးကြတော့လေကျွန်တော်နည်းနည်းမရတော့ final တိကိုအရင်ကြောက်ရမယ်တင်းနေတာပါသွားပြီ
to
သူ
make it tough for all our teams.
အမျိုးညံများနေတိုက်လို့အပွဲတစ်ပွဲ7မှတ်လုံးယူတဲ့အတင်းဆိုတာ
game, right?
Oh,
They have
they have
always
already
needed one. They are
Hello,
so
they need
low
to get
down on
champion,
the
man.
rankings. But
Bro.
it is Void
Yep.
Donkey finding even more profit off the back of
Who are
this
you?
match. 8 eliminations found
အခုဒါကုန်သွားပြန်ပြီ
already.
ဒီနေ့
Another
fracture
shot
ဖြစ်တယ်ဟလား
over
ကျွန်တော်
towards
စိတ်
Neos out inside the
shed 2
blue.
မှာဆိုတော့
This is an
ဒီနေ့ကတော့
awesome
ဒီ
match
top
from
1 to
them.
3တဲ့တင်းနေရတကယ် fracture တက်နေခံနိုင်မှရမယ်
Point in
ဒီ
time
ဟာကိုလည်း
for
ကျွန်
a
တော်တင်း
team.
တော့
It's a
TT ရဲ့
case
အတွက်
of
ကတော့တိတ်ဆိတ်ပူစရာမရှိဘူးတိုက်
do
လို့
we
ဒါတော့
go
TT က
out without
E.
a whisper or do
Oh,
we
hello.
go out
TT
swinging?
ကတွေ့ E.
And that's what Count
PC
Void
ပဲ
Donkey is doing
Hala.
right now.
AC ပဲတိုက်လို့ DRS ရှေ့မှာဆိုလဲ VD တွေတောက်လျှောက်ပြန်ပြီး fracture ပြီးကြတော့ကျွန်တော် TT အတွက်ကဒီတော့မှကျွန်တော်အချိန်ရအောင် K ကလည်းကျွန်တော်7 K လောက်ကျွန်တော်ရထားလို့လက်ရှိကျွန်တော် top 40တော့ကျွန်တော်ဝင်လာပဲဖြစ်ပါဗျဒီမှာ VD တွေဖက်ကိုလည်းဒီဘက် champ နာမည်ကကျွန်တော်မသိပါဘူး let's go
for Void Donkey coming to today. This is only going to increase their confidence in the next 5 matches.
I mean,
You
we've
know,
known
yeah.
Coach
Pieve,
Stefan
dai,
for a
pieve,
while as
pieve,
well. It's
pieve.
a great attribute to this team.
Di lo gila.
Hopefully keeping them
Hello.
steady, hand
Good
on
boy.
the rudder. Seems like they have the
မြန်မာ
confidence
တင်း
today.
ပါလာဗျာ
Give
မြန်မာ
them
တင်း
a
မပါ
pep
တော့
talk.
လေမြန်မာတင်းမရှိတော့
G them up to give it a good go.
အားကျကြံတင်ရတယ်ကင်းမရှိလဲဘာမှမဖြစ်တိုက်တယ်အဲ့ဒါသဘောပေါက်တယ်နော်တိုက်တယ်လောက်ဆိုငါတို့သိပြီလားအားကျကြံတင်အားကျနဲ့ရှင်းနေကြတယ်လက်ရှိဒီ state မှာကျွန်တော်ကင်းရအဲ့လောက်မဟုတ်ဘူးကျွန်တော်ရှင်းတို့အားကျတို့ဆောင်းလုံးနေတယ်
Void Donkey on that way.
knock on leg in jazz ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရ
Such a difficult approach.
ဘာလို့ VD တွေတယောက်ကျွန်တော်ပျောက်ဆုံးနေတယ်ဒီကတယောက်တော့ဖို့တော့လိုနေသေးရဲ့ပြောလို့မရှိသေးတော့တော့ပြီးဒီဝဲဘဒုပွဲလေဘဒုပွဲလေတက်လာပြီ come on အေးအမ shotgun အနီးပေါ် shotgun မယ်အေးအမတော့အေးပြီးသွားရော
goes for one with the DBS and it's all shut down.
လက်ကောနဲ့တဖန်ပါ
The hold on the circle. And for his birthday, well, is present here a chicken dinner.
Yeah, started off
မနေ့က
they didn't get a
မနေ့ကကျွန်တော်တို့ဗာပြောတာ DS ကိုတိုက်တယ်ငါပြောတယ်စင်သွေးလားအတင်းတွေ့လားကိုယ်တက်လာတွေ့လားဒီနေ့ game 1မှာ chicken ရအောင်စောက်ရေးမပါဘူး
rotating back down towards the
ငါ
circle
ပြောပါ
multiple times.
စင်သွေးလားအတင်းမှာဒီကောင်လေးစောက်ပိုက်ပဲတက်လောက်အောင်မှာရောင်တော်မောင်တော်နဲ့
Still make it work.
yes day
Getting on around the edge of that rock, holding down the teams pushing in from that north side. The hills descent was not going to happen. Void Donkey gave it a good go, but in the end, DRS held their nerve.
ဒီနေ့ကျွန်တော်စောင်းပွဲဖွင့်အောင်တော့ကျွန်တော် DS က chicken နဲ့တော့ကျွန်တော်ပတ်လိုက်ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်လက်ရှိ rank က16မှာပါနော်
Sorry, I started messing with
တော့
the
ဒီနေ့
producer.
top down
DRS
ဘို့တော့
again,
ချီတဲ့
getting
လမ်းတော့
it
လမ်းလိုက်ပဲ
when
ဖြစ်
it
ပါတယ်
comes to Sandhawk
နောက်
here
ဆုံး
that
ကျွန်တော်
is
ဒီနေ့ final နေပဲ
back-to-back
ဖြစ်ပါတယ်
days. But hopefully, Max Mem, they don't have back-to-back results because DRS,
I think I like
as you
DS
pointed out, did not perform well the rest of the day.
နေ့ကလည်း group မှာ
Yeah,
ပဲပြုတ်တာ
unfortunately,
right
we mentioned it a few times already. DRS, when it comes to performing well on Arangua and Miramar, that's not really been the case. It's great, Jason. They can kick off the final day here with a chicken dinner. This is what's going to be possibly allowing them to make it in.
ကျွန်တော် reaction လေးနေပြပါအောင်နော်ကျွန်တော် Facebook ကပေါ်လာကျွန်တော် share လေးလုပ်ပြပါအောင်ကျွန်တော်ပြော
We need this to continue in the other maps. This was a great game. Do more of that, please. But unfortunately, from like recent history, that's not really been the case.
Not been the case at all. You know, it's crazy. Like in Sandhawk, it's all about the will of D, man. You got D plus Furia winning the first two matches, and now DRS winning the other two. It's crazy that we only got 2 winners on Sandhawk. Man, this was a really crazy match and a really unfortunate one for a lot of teams. One in particular I'm looking at got to be Team Liquid, man. I mean, I know that Knight said that he wasn't really focused on Sandhawk. They were putting all their resources into fixing Erangel. I mean, to go up first, considering where they're on the leaderboard, it's still a tough watch.
Hey, wait, Hodrix, is it match number 6?
Yeah, that's what
it is. Just wait, okay? Be patient.
Damage intro. Let's go.
ဒီမှာဒီကကျွန်တော်နောက်ကောင်3ကောင်4ကောင်5ကောင်5ကောင် chicken ကျွန်တော်15 match ကျော်ရောင်းရပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်
We're not seeing high eliminations out of them necessarily. The zone not necessarily fully gifted to them, but definitely did favor them towards the end as we saw.
It was different.
ဒီချိန်နေကောင်းတယ် shut တူတယ်
What's different?
We'll take a different circle though. You know what I'm saying? Didn't go to that island.
That's true.
IC လို့ဂျန်တိုက်ပြီးတော့ fight နေ champion ဖြစ်သွားနိုင်တယ်တင်ရှိလက်မတော်
You know, they went for the D plus rotate.
ရှိလားရှိတယ်အဲ့လိုတင်ရှိရှိတယ်
Yeah, you have to go back to the first game of this entire PMGC. Major Pride played the exact same compound, the exact same way as DRS were playing, you're going to be trying to hold off all the teams coming in from the southern side, which in this scenario they were trying to hold off. I think it was trying to hold off which team was it? I wrote it down. Vicious and Alliance were coming in from the southern side. You clear those teams and then you pretty much have free range to spray down teams that are trying to go down the road, down that ridge side, and then you're going to have easy time eliminating them. Though I do want to highlight Hot Jukes. It was a very good approach from Voin Donkey ID with Vexy going to the eastern side. I think that off angle did survive. Car too early. Could have maybe
just container တရားရပြင်ကျွန်တော်ကြည့်တော့ပါဘူး
not maybe even a chicken.
Yeah, you know, it's so tough when you see
ဒီကျွန်တော် blame ပါမယ်ကျွန်တော်ပြီးရင်ဒီ crew က cheap ပြီဆိုပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် blame ပါမယ်
Sometimes you just get so antsy, you want to be able to get that
ဒီတိုင်းတိုင်းတော့ကျွန်တော် vote တင်နေတဲ့ကိုတော်ရင်ဖက်ကို vote တင်ပေးဖို့ပဲလုပ်ထားပါတော့တော်ရင်ပွဲရှာမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်
But you know what, still good to be able to seeပွဲရှာမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ် to the end of the game here. One team
ဒီ3ရက်လုံးအဲ့လိုလုပ်နေတာကျွန်တော်နည်းနည်းများနေပါပြီနော်တက်တက်ကိုကျင်းထဲနေရဖြစ်ပါတယ်
right
အဲ့လောက်ဒီကျင်းထဲနေတဲ့ဇုံတွေတော့မှကျွန်တော်စီးရတင်းနေဟိုအောက်ဆုံးမှာကုန်းနေရပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်တိုင်းတော့
But they just pulled off this crazy
စီးရတင်းနေအရင်လိုမျိုး2022ကစီးတင်းနေမဟုတ်တော့ဘူးနော်2024ရောက်နေစီးရတင်းနေအကုန်လုံးစမုံသုံးနေပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်
Good quick snappy rotation from CH Osaka. Love to see it. Thumbs up. And then my thumbs went down pretty significantly because they go from a central position where they had 4 players alive, by the way.
ကြီးပွဲမရှိတော့ဘူးလားကိုတော့ပေးနာပါအောင်ပေးနာပါအောင်တော့တယ်မရှိတော့ဘူးเนาะကြီးပွဲอ่ะဒီဇင်ဘာပြီးလောက်မှပဲကျွန်တော်
And they instantly lose those
ပွဲရှိနေတယ်တော့တော့လုပ်ပြပါမယ်အားကြမှာသိမှာပါ
because guess what, you don't have the numbers anymore in your team.
Ni ko don na chi do lo chi chicken sa ra mi ra ma sa
they just have all the arsenal they need to really claim that compound for themselves and
make it ma chang ku ပြောပြပါဆိုရင်တော့ကျွန်တော်ပထမဆုံးကြည့်တယ် crew yellow ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ် break တက်ကြီး
be careful to not make that
ဒီတော့ DS နေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်9កောင်နဲ့ကျွန်တော်15မှတ်ပဲရပါတော့เนาะ chicken ရတာကြက်မပြည့်တဲ့ chicken ဖြစ်နေရပါတော့9កောင်နဲ့ဆိုတော့နေတော်တော်လေးတော့အဲ့ဒီအတူအမှတ်တွေလုံးနေသေးတယ်တဲ့လားဆိုတော့ဒီတင်းကျွန်တော်လည်း TT ကလည်း9កောင်နဲ့ shut 2 15မှတ်ရပါတယ်ပေါ့နော် PD 14 met RG 73 met PF က6မှတ်ပဲရပါတယ်2 point တော့အရင်ဒီနေ့တော့ PF ကိုစောင့်ကြည့်ရမယ်မနေ့ကဆိုရင်ကျွန်တော် Furia တင်းကျွန်တော် TK ကိုပြောတယ်မနေ့က TK တွေအရင် fresher ဖြစ်နေတယ်ဘာလို့မနေ့က day 3မှာတော်တော်ကြီးဆော့ရအဆင်မပြေဖြစ်နေတယ်လို့ဆိုတော့ပုံမှန်တိုင်းပဲဘာမှမပြောင်းဒါပေမဲ့ဒီကောင် fresher ဖြစ်နေမပြည့်ရဘူးမချရဘူးတွေတော်တော်လေးရှောင်ကျင်နေအားဒီမှာအစားပေါ့နော်အဲ့လိုဒီတအားပြာများနေတဲ့ TK ကတော့ဒီနေ့ကြည့်ရမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီနေ့ပြာများနိုင်တဲ့အတင်းရလည်းတိုက်လို့ PF ဖြစ်ပါတယ်နော် PF ကိုကြည့်ရမနေ့ကအရင် consistent ဖြစ်တယ်ဒီနေ့တော့အဝဲတော့ဖြစ်သွားရလားကျန်တဲ့5ပွဲကျန်ပြီး5ပွဲလုံးကြည့်ရအောင်
It could be, but unfortunately, there's 2 other teams we have to take a look at here who were in the contesting for top 3. You know, D plus, another 2 points here, Max. So staying true to what you said earlier today with the points they've gotten past their first 7 matches. 4 and B getting 0 points as well. I'm getting a little bit worried for these teams, but I'm going to say that I have to remember. It's just Sandhawk, Jason. It's just Sandhawk, guys. There's always an opportunity when we get to Air Gills for things to change, and I'm kind of curious because we did see. I feel like no, I can't even say that with like confidence that Doc did start to play with this team a little bit more. Though we did see that on one of our matches yesterday.
When
we had 4MV.
ခုနကတူလီနဲ့ဆိုင်ဖို့လုပ်တယ်ဒီကောင်ပြန်ရအောင်ပြန်ပတ်တယ်ပတ်ပြီးတော့ဒီဘက်ချမ်းရောက်တော့မတတ်နိုင်တော့ Daisy ကိုလည်းတွေ့တာအခုရှိတော့နိုင်အောင်ပြတ်ဖို့တော့လိုတော့
I remember the scenario. Yeah.
ကဲ point တွေကတော့စပြီးကြောင်းပါပြီကျွန်တော်ထိတ်ဆုံးကနှစ်တင်းရဟျောင်းကြီး135တူတူပဲတဲ့ဒီတီတော့ပြီးရတယ်ချက်3ကိုတတ်သွား145မှတ်ဆိုတော့ TK အနေနဲ့တော့ shot 4ကိုကြာသွားပြီဗျ
But third place, Jason, finally, top 3 team. Let's go. It's going to be from China. It's going to be Thunder Talk Gaming. And unfortunately, yeah, we talked about it earlier, Jason, on the pre-show. The D plus Kia, their results are going downhill every single game. And that just opens up a big opportunity for whichever team gets a solid finish. And that just ended up being Thunder Talk Gaming with their second place finish here on Sanhok. And the thing is, now you've got to be careful because D plus Kia, if they can't do a little bit of a comeback here, I'm telling you, they're going to keep falling down further and further behind 4MV, behind Regnum Karabra. Survive a bit longer these games. D plus Kia need to start like getting to the late game because right now we haven't seen anything since their 7th match.
Oof. It hurts. It hurts to watch D plus Kia. Look at that.
မနေ့ကတော့နားလိုက်တာပဲ sorry ပဲ
I was looking at
နောက်ဆုံးတော့မကြည့်တော့ဘူး
You're looking at DRS? Yeah, I mean DRS.
နောက်ပြီးတော့3တန်းပဲလောက်တာမနေ့က3အောင်ဝင်ပြန်ဝင်ပြန်တော့ငါကတော့မိ
in the survival stage. I mean, is Sandhawk so strong for them, and it's so crazy to see that jump for them. But I mean, Aaron Gale, they gotta be able to replicate some of that magic. One thing I'm really proud of DRS though is their ability to adjust, right? You can tell that this squad really wants it bad. They're doing their homework. They're looking at what the best teams have had success on, and they're willing to replicate it. And that's something I really, really like to see.
You're 1 point away from possibly and right now they also got the chicken dinner, so they would win the tiebreaker. So yeah, right now they're 1 point away from being in 11th position, from making it into the survival stage and clutching it up in the final day for Group Green. I think DRS is, again, a pretty strong team when it comes to local play. I think PMGC, like all these global events, they struggle quite a bit. But with experience, you know, maybe for next year, they can just come and completely start swinging in these games really early on. So,
I mean, Max,
I see that potential, but they still need more. They have
Muslims in the lobby.
အဲ့လိုမျိုးတော့ပြောရဲဥရောပအသင်းတွေပို့ပြီးတော့ကျန်းနေ2024
Without these 2 wins, they would
မေ
be
ရိကန်ဘက်ကအသင်းတွေနဲ့
100%.
ဥရောပဘက်က
And
အ
without
သင်းတွေ
any chance to break through into top 11, but like you said, now only 1 point away. It's very possible that they could trade out with Alliance.
TJB,
potentially even Star Wars. Like, there's still a lot of teams in reach. If you look at last place with Team Secret at 78 points, it's a 12-point difference. That's it. Between 6 teams, if you're going home and make it to survival stage, like, it's insanely close here at the bottom of the leaderboard.
International ကတကဘာလုံးထည့်ပြီးတော့စကားပြောရတယ်
difficult here because you got teams at the bottom that are going to be so hungry, willing to push teams in, and even if they're on the edge, you know, they'll do everything they can to get those elimination points back. So you got squads at the bottom that need it, squads in the midsection, and not to mention even at the top, right? Things are getting really too close for comfort.
Yeah, and we had a good Sanhok to kick off the day here, but most importantly, we are going in the meat and potatoes of this final day. We're going to Erangel, and this is where the points really need to bring their A game, and if they want to make it survival stage or even maybe to the grand finals.
We've got the meat, we've got the potatoes, we've got the celery and the oxtail all being thrown into the stew. See how it's going to turn out. Let's get it over to our
အခုတော့ပူတော်ရှိတယ်အခုဒီနေ့တော့20ပူတော်ရှိတယ်
toil and trouble, cauldron bubbles as we are about to deliver on a once again fantastic, exquisite, maybe a little bit toxic for some of our teams on this game. Let's see if they can earn those points, get themselves towards those survival spots. Nobody knows.
When did we become a
သုံးဆောင်နေငါးပန်းခိုင်းမလို့ဝင်းမရအောင်ဒီနေ့တော့ရမယ်ဒီနေ့
head chefs?
ကတော့ Wi-Fi တော့ line နဲ့ line နဲ့နော်တစ်စင်တစ်ယောက်တည်းသုံးတာနော်
Sometimes you ever had a really good meal and you're like witchcraft.
ဒီကောင်တွေကကီးကိုဘိုင်းနေဘာရှင်းပြောင်းလိုက်တော့စတာပါဗျာတဲ့စပါနဲ့
Because I usually cook and that would make me a warlock.
I think no, witches can cook too.
Yeah, but I'm a
ဒီ
man.
ရှောင်းတော့ဖြစ်တော့မယ်
Yeah, I think maybe
တော့လည်းမလိုပါဘူးဒီလို
No, you'd be a warlock.
ဘိုင်းကတော့မြင်ရ
Yeah.
it's a bit check like မကြိုက်ပါ
Check my witch.
Okay.
ဝင်ကြီးလောက်ပြပါအားရတယ်ဗျာဟုတ်ကဲ့ဝယ်ပ
More
လေး
research
ကြီး
required.
Indeed.
ကဲလေးလမ်းချက်ပုံမှာပဲနော်
I've watched a lot of Sabrina.
A7 ပါပဲပြောမြဟုတ်ဒီနေ့ကျွန်တော်ဒီ
Heading over
ပါ
towards
စီတင်ကောင်းတယ်ဒီနေ့တော်တော်ရကောင်းတယ်တင်းနိုင်လို့ကောင်းတယ်
A couple of other teams as well.
မစ်စီစင်မှာချန်ပီယံယူတာတော့လေနိုင်ငံအတွက်ချန်ပီယံယူတာတော့ကျန်းနေတယ်ဆောင်းကျန်းတယ်မိုဒီအပြည့်နဲ့တုံနေတယ်
down towards our south in that area.
Oh, ပုံမှန်ပါပဲတိုက်တော့ခုနပြောလို့ပဲ shooting range safari နဲ့ George Bull မပေးမကြည့်ဘူးကဲဒီနေ့ကပေးကြည့်မယ်နော်ဒီဆောင်ကကျွန်တော် quarry လေးဆွဲနိုင်တယ်ပေါ့နော် let's go
we have good rotates. Smart players.
ဘာပြောကျွန်တော်စုံနဲ့ဝေးဆုံးတော့ကျွန်တော် TT ကျွန်တော်မိုက်တာပါပါကျွန်တော်စနစ်ထားမယ်ပြပါမယ်ဗျဆိုတော့စုံရရှိထားတဲ့တင်တွေကကျွန်တော် VD ကျွန်တော် PF တိုက်တို့သူပေးနေတာ PF ကိုပဲလိုက်ပေးနေတာတော့မသိဘူးပေါ့နော်အဲ့ဒါတော့ကျွန်တော် teacher စရင်လန့်ပြီးကြည့်မှရတော့မယ်ဟုတ်လား
accessible areas
report လုပ်မှရမယ်တိုက်တော့ရင်ပွဲရော
and then they just don't use that access right they give themselves
ဒီတိုင်းတော့ report မလုပ်တော့ပါဘူး TT မတိုင်းတော့ကျွန်တော် report လုပ်မှရမယ်တိုက်
you know what I'm just gonna try and undo this bolt with my teeth instead rather than using the wrench that they've
sold. So next phase
it's quite frustrating.
Yeah, it is. I think
honestly, you
look at D+. I want this team to grow. I'd like to see a second South Korean squad over towards the direct invite to the grand finals just because South Korea has developed and fielded such good talents this year. It's hard enough to have 2 teams very strong in South Korea, and 3 at the same time. That's fantastic.
ဒီလန်ပြဖို့လိုတာပေါ့နော်ကောင်းဖို့တရားများနဲ့မြန်မာနိုင်ငံပလေယာတွေဒီပါထောက်တာလည်း
one of them that we expected to be a little bit
မမီလာ A7 ပဲမမီရဲ့မမီရဲ့မမီတော့2024ကမင်းတို့နှစ်ပါပဲတိုက်လို့A7 ပြည့်တက်တယ်မင်းတို့အတန်ထွက်လို့ရပါတယ်ထွက်ပါဘာမှဖြစ်ဘူးလည်းဘာမှပြောပါ
Team Liquid I got Coach Knight here next to me Hodgix was talking about you guys might be changing up some stuff in Erangel What is the stuff that you guys are going to be changing?
I think
we struggle a lot in Erangel because we are lacking like good decisions during the process of deciding where should we go, what should we do.
ဒီတဲ့ကောက်မြည်လိုက်လောင်းအောင်သိလောင်းတာအဲ့လိုမျိုးနေတယ်လောင်းလည်းငိမ့်မြတော့အဲ့လိုအောင်းရှောင်းလောင်းနေ
think a little bit ahead of
theငိမ့်ရအရင်မြန်ဟုတ်အောက်ချအောင်အောက်ဆုံးနေကြအဲ့လိုပါလို့စီးရတယ်နေအထာ
situation
Right on. Well, I hope you guys do end up making those good decisions, and I hope the Erangels are a lot better today because you need them if you want to be able to make that push on the top 3. Quick question: you guys always do good on Miramar. What do you think is the reason?
ဆိုတော့ငါဘေးအောင်3တက်ပေးအောင်တိုက်လို့ကြီး
We don't change our game style.
နောက်ဆုံးဆော့ရပွဲလားကောင်းတယ်ပေါ့ကွာ
We kind of create this
ကောင်းတယ်ဆိုပေမဲ့တော့လိုပါတယ်
we are so good on Miramar that nothing can go wrong. So our psychological is too strong, and even if we are in a bad situation, we can overcome.
ဘာလို့တည်နေပါပြီတို့တွေကဟိုကဘာလဲနားလဲနေပြီတို့တွေအကုန်လုံးဒီကစိတ်ပါပဲပြီးတော့ဒီထက်ရင်းကျက်ရပါ
Really interesting stuff there.
နိုင်ငံပလီယာတွေလို့တဲ့အင်နာမှာဆိုလဲရင်းကျက်လေးတွေအားလုံး
and they felt it was cluttered.
Hopefully
they can streamline that.
အားလေးနဲ့ဆိုရင်
what is going wrong eliminate it. Come out all the better for it. On 100 points, they are from that top 3 competition, but they're still a long way off. Looking to secure survival stage spot, much more likely.
Yeah, I think at this point in time, like you'd need essentially probably 10-point average today. Like, do you even have a chance, right?
ကြောက်ဖွင့်သွားရမှာနော်ကျွန်တော် state 1မှာတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီ landing ထက်တာမျိုးတော့ဘာမှမရှိပါဘူး။ဒါဆိုတော့ဝေးဆုံးနေရာနဲ့စပြီးဝင်မယ်တင်ရတော့ကျွန်တော် TT ပဲဖြစ်ပါကကျွန်တော်ပြီးရတဲ့ကျွန်တော် TT အနေနဲ့စပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက် fan ဘက်ဒီပေါ်ပေါင်းနေပြီးချင်း info ယူပြီးတော့ပဲကျွန်တော်စပြီးတိုးလိုက်တော့ကျွန်တော်ပြောရမယ်။တော့ဒီအနေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဒီမနေ့ကလည်းကျွန်တော်ချစ်ကန်ရတာပါနော်တော်တော်လေးပုံပန်တိုင်းလေးပဲသွားနေလို့ကျွန်တော်ပြောလို့ရပါဗျ။တော့နောက်လည်း online တက်လာနိုင်တဲ့အတင်းတွေကလက်ရှိကျွန်တော် 4M ရှိမယ်။ CAB ရှိမယ်။ DK ကိုလည်းတစ်ချက်ဆောင်ကြည့်ရအောင်။ဒီနေ့နှစ်တင်းပဲအဓိကကြည့်ရမယ်။ပြန်ကြနိုင်တဲ့အတင်းတွေပြန်အရန်တက်လည်းအရန်တက်လာနိုင်တဲ့အတင်းက DK ကြရင်အရန်ကြောက်နိုင်တဲ့အတင်းကတော့ကျွန်တော် PF ဒီနေ့တင်းကတော့ကျွန်တော်တစ်ချက်ကြည့်ရအောင်ဗျ။ IF ကတော့တကယ်အပေါ်မှာတော့ကျွန်တော် flasher ကင်းနဲ့တော့ကျွန်တော်ထိန်းထားတော့မှာပေါ့နော်
We'll leave
our conversation
for now. But
ပြောလို့မရပါဘူးကျွန်တော်ပေးတင်စရာမဟုတ်ပါဘူးကျွန်တော်ခံမှန်းမရမှာပေါ့နော်လက်ရှိ MSC ရတယ်ကျွန်တော်
It's a good position to be in. I think they'll be happy with this. It's a comeback from Team Liquid. This is a good start. This is a very good start. They say they're very good on Miramar, which they are.
Notပွဲစားတော့ချစ်ကန်ရမှာ
Might be a nice position to try and secure that position even further. As you look down the tables, it's only 11 points to go down in 12th place right now, even from 100. So close on the rankings. very, very difficult, and that is due to the point sponge at the top of the lobby with that jump from RCB in 6th place to 108 points up to 4MV 125, which goes up to 153 in 1st place. So a 53-point difference between 1st place and 7th. It's a rather large gap.
Starting to stretch out. We've had a very, very close lobby over the first 2 days. Third day, we distinguished the top 5, and there is still that gap. That's that barrier that sits in that top group, and 4MV starting behind that, dropping that boundary somewhat, but still highly, highly competitive. And we'll see.
What's got? She must have kind of pulled that out.
Things start
to what's got? Offline mà dùng lại đó. Dùng lại đó. Sao em tàu đó? Again, now.
Teams are looking for the top side. Thunder Talk at the moment, they managed to just about get into the top 3. Well, I say just about, pretty convincingly off that last match with their not only high point scoring game, but the fact that they defeated D+ Kia in that D+ crash. It really didn't go well for South Korea, and now they're really pushing towards the top side, and it's good to see, just like you were talking about with Team Liquid saving face, them also looking to make their mark, not only save face,
yeah, but Thunder Talks, day 4 is really the day 1 of PL. So this is where they can start to make their stand for a 3rd place, or potentially even a 2nd or a 1st, because again, it's not a big jump up for them. 145 to 153, because both Influence Rage and Brute Force are both tied at the moment. With Influence Rage pipping them to the post in 1st place just because of their chicken dinners on that advantage. DRS making their way in from East side, who have had fairly decent improvement in performance. It was a scary thing to have happen, especially for Team Secret, for 77, be like, look, there's no way that DRS is catching up to any of us, so it's just us 4 fighting out against one another. Out of nowhere, clothesline comes through from DRS, hits everyone in that bottom 5. And I think now they're probably in get back up into survival stage at this point, and they're going to definitely do their hardest to get towards that position too. After you've given yourself a lifeline in game 1 as well, so much easier to work, right? You know, you give yourself a lifeline in match 5. So yeah, great for it to have I think 16တင်းတာကစ် state 2ကတော့တကယ်အားလုံးကျွန်တော်ကြက်ချန်တဲ့ရိုက်ခဲ့တယ်လို့ပဲအားလုံးစုပုံပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ကျုံနေတာတွေကိုကျွန်တော်ပြောကြည့်ရတော့ပါတယ် in my personal opinion ချိုးလိုက်တော့
I mean, they don't have a team behind them to
yeah,
worry about. It's a little bit easier than it was before CG Osaka are much closer to the middle now. And getting across may be slightly safer for them. Thunder Talk straight to the middle. CG sending away on into the mid side front property to see if they can get those sea views claimed. But it's easier said than done. CG Osaka will first make their way on in. This crash right now going really well. Was that, wait, was that a nade? Did you think it was a smoke?
Or TT လေးရောက်တော့ damage တော့မထိထားသေးဘူးကျွန်တော် shot pressure ပြီးထားနိုင်တယ်ဗျအမမောင်ရမရှိဘူးဒီဘက် channel နဲ့အားချက်ပြန်ပြီးထောက်ထားပေးတာတွေကလည်းစောင်းရဲမိုင်းနေပြီနောက်ကောင်ဖြတ်လွန်လာပြီဆိုကွန်မောင်းကကျွန်တော်2ယောက်ပဲကြံတော့မယ်ဗျတော့နေဒီကဝင်လာတော့စောင်းရဲနေပါတော့ကျွန်တော် CFG နေနဲ့ရှင်းပြရင်တော့နေဒီကအချိန်မှသုံးမယ်ဆိုရင်တော့ဘာမှမထူးတော့လို့ပဲပြောမယ်ဗျ
able to get the flush onto Garnet.
ဟုတ်တာကလည်းပြန်
Far from flawless on that one.
Yeah, Leah connection မှာကြောင့် CFG ဘက်ကပေါ်ပါပြီးရတာလို့လုံးဝအညီထောက်ပဲဟောတယ်ပုံမှန်တိုင်းဝင်နိုင်ကပြပေးမဲ့တိုင်းပေးမယ်ကထောက်ပဲအဲ့လိုပုံစံမှန်နေကြီးသုံးပြီးတာ vision smoke ပြင်ပေးတာ overview ကနေကိုလှုပ်တင်လှုပ်ထိုက်တာတွေဖန်ဒီကိုတက်ဖို့လိုတာပေါ့နော်သူကပြစ်ပဲပြစ်နေတော့လဲဘာမှမထူတော့ဘူးအနီးကောင်လည်းထွက်မြင်
CAG Osaka do move out, but yeah, for now, so it kind of was like
နော်ဗတဲ့တာစီကျော်ဖြစ်နေတီနေနေတော့ကျွန်တော်2ဘာချက် full ဆိုင်အောင် CAG ကြတော့လုံးဝကွန်ပေါင်းတော့ပြန်တော့ defend လုပ်နေရောနော်ဖြစ်တော့ဖြစ်နိုင်တယ်ဟိုဘက်ကွန်ပေါင်း defend လုပ်ကောင်းတယ်ကွန်ပေါင်းတွေပေါ့နော်
the floor of the building
2ဘာချက် full နဲ့9-1နိုင်ပါတယ်
who was it aimed at
ဒါလည်းတီနေတယ်အရင် lobby တက်ပြီး push out မိုးတွေအရင် aggressive ဖြစ်တာမျိုးတွေတော့ဘာမှမလုပ်ပြတာတွေကိုပုံမှန်တိုင်းလေးပဲချတင်တော့ချတယ်ဒီလောက်ပဲပေါ့နော်ပြေးချင်တယ်ပြေးလို့ရသေးတယ်မျိုးပြေးပြေးတယ်ဆိုတော့ပုံစံမျိုးလေးနဲ့
compound that's inside the circle to
bully
Void Donkey who was always like, guys, we're gone. We're already clearing the lobby right now, okay? Yeah, we soon. CAG Osaka.
They're getting gapped right now by the rest of the lobby. And they need to try and pick up the pace if they want to get a survival stage spot. They've managed to get the east side of Quarry into a pretty important compound.
Okay, just say 3G miss a game team went to our TD. Yeah, not to our mid go to our state room, tap is on barrier. So on a job BF
and we're going down to Primos.
So
I mean, heading far away again. We do have a lot more still in this one, you know, over towards the southeast side. Still a ton of circle.
Yellow.
4MV gets those over towards the eastern side of the circle. Their job right now is pretty much to just deal with all those teams off towards that eastern side. I think getting a little bit further into this one will be difficult. They are going to go for it. I don't like the beach play. I think it's incredibly dangerous to go for. Moving
into that west side, wrapping around the edge of Quarry, trying to crash on in towards Voindonkey ID. They have managed to get one down. Sent Wild a little bit too far towards danger there. And Vexy will launch the nade on forwards, tries to follow it up in a second towards Silas. See if they're able to find more knocks here. That's not going to quite tag on. Razor moving into position. He might have more effect here in this position, and the nade cooking over the top side is there. And he's ready for the fight. The barrel not quite going to hit his mark there. Fall back a little bit, get some healing done. And back up from a teammate.
Voindonkey. I'd like to see them get more points in this game. Razor immediately jumps out of the way as soon as he gets that first aid kit. Very fantastic timing. Stun grenade over the top. Terribly good for them. Meantime, it is 4V taking a fight with Cellcom Digi Alliance. That's over towards Southeast A. One player down. Similarly, Cellcom have taken 2 knocks.
Seemingly in charge of that fight. Thundertalk looking to try and finally remove CAG Osaka from this compound. They want to change that.
1 2 ရှင်းရတော့ဟိုဘက်
side with AJ.
ဟိုဘက်တယောက်တွေ့ရော
They're up into the wall there. Reluctant to hop straight on in, but it looks like they're going to go for it now. The breach now in action. Apollo on the outside trying to catch some stragglers if he can. Shut it down from the off angle. Matton on the top floor. Doc in the meantime.
အပါဖော်ကန်လိုက်ရပြီဒီဘက်ချက်မှာတော့
Apex goes down.
Cellcom Digi Alliance.
audio. Drone 1v1. Doc and Apex both fall. And it's just Ollie stand for Cellcom Digi Alliance.
တော့အားလေးပဲမှာလည်းကျွန်တော်ဒီမလေးသိန်းနဲ့ထပ်ပြီးတော့ပြတ်သွားရပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီဘက်ချက်မှာဆိုတင်းတယောက်ပေးထားရတယ်ဒီမှာတော့ရှင်းချင်ကောင်လေးကျွန်တော်နောက်နေတဲ့တပ်ပါနေနဲ့နောက်မှာကျွန်တော်တင်း secret တွေပါကျွန်တော်ရှိနေသေးတယ်ခုနကပြောတဲ့အတိုင်းပဲအရင်တတိထားရတဲ့ကြားထဲမှာဒီလိုနောက်သွားတဲ့အချိန်မှာဒီလိုပါတီနဲ့တွေ့ရကျွန်တော်ခုနပြောတဲ့ CFG ရဲ့2ယောက်ကျန်တဲ့ဒီကွန်ပေါင်းဒီ
They double back.
တဖန်လို့ရတယ်ဗောနော်ကျွန်တော်2ယောက်ချက်အားမငယ်နဲ့ဒီလိုကွန်ပေါင်းရတာဆိုရင်ဒီကောင်ပြန်ပြီးတော့ပို့ရပါတယ်
place with DRS making it into 11th off the back of their chicken dinner. Fantastic stuff to them, but they are heavily weakened over on the side. Don't see them going too much further.
ဒီကောင်မောတကယ် miss ခဲ့ကြောပေးကြတယ်သူပဲ secret အရင်ကြာနေရလားမလုပ်ချင်နေရလေ secret အနေနဲ့တတိယတော့တေချာပါကိုရောကွန်ပေါင်းထဲမှာတော့ချတော့မှာမဟုတ်တော့ဘူးငြိမ်လိုက်ပြီပေါ့နော်တပ်ပါတီဝင်လာတယ်တိကြပြီဆိုတော့နောက်တစ်တင်းကတေချာပါဝင်လာတော့ပို့ပြီးရှုပ်တော့ပြောတော့မရှိတဲ့ 4 week တွေပဲကျော် cyber chat နဲ့ပြန်ပြီးပတ်လာနေတူပဲ secret မှပြီးတော့ကျော်ထိန်းနာဒီတယောက်တော့ကျော်ရတာကြီး
they make their way in team liquid fall short I think they know there's too much going on in there right now there is no room for them
မပြော1 kg တော့ကြည့်တက်ကြည့်တော့
roadside towards the beach and hope that they get a slice of it later on 4MV as well similarly on the southeast side losing 1 but moving up on that beach still
အဲ့ဒါဟုတ်ကဲ့ပါ
4MV southeast side right now 4 eliminations they did lose that player John like you were saying I think that they still have a chance in this game. I don't know how long this position is going to keep. But we'll wait and see. Team Secret
stay full. Make it into a little bit
off that Western Bridge Crossing, Team Secret,
IF
CAG,
Lord
Osaka. They cut in between. They didn't cut to the front of the line. Quite a few people were angry by just going maybe 2 steps ahead of everyone else. That caused problems for a lot of squads because it was an unexpected factor. I think this is a bit of a change for them. I'm surprised that Giante has been able to get in towards that western side of the map, but I don't know how long he's going to last there. RCB taking plenty of casualties now, just down to silence.
Leaderboard နောက်ဆုံး1 lap ပေးချင်တော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်တုံးကောင်ချားတဲ့ဝင်တော့မိရနေဘူးလေအဲ့ဒါပြောလို့ပဲစစ်တော့စစ်တယ် Day 4ကတကယ်ချမယ်ချင်းရောက်နေပေါ့နော်တကယ်ဝင်နေဝင်ချရောဒီကောင်လည်းရှိတစ်ဖက်လောက်အရင်ဝင်ချမိရဆိုတော့ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဆိုတော့ PFD ကတော့အခွင့်အရေးရသွားပြီဆိုတော့7လည်းကျွန်တော် damage တွေထိကြတော့တယောက်လည်း knock ထားတာပြန်တော့ကင်ပြီးသွားပြီနှစ်ယောက်တော့တစ်ချက်ကလေးတွေနောက် short တော့ push လာပြီဗတယ်အနေနဲ့ PF ကတော့ရခိုင်နှုန်းနိုင်ဖို့ပို့ပြီးတော့များလာတယ်လို့နောက်ထပ် 80 Candy နော်အဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော်7တကောင်လည်းပဲကျွန်တော်ပြန်တော့ကျွန်တော် defend လုပ်ဖို့ကြိုးစားရင်းပဲအကုန်လုံးကွန်ဘောင်းမှာပဲပြတ်သွားရပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီနေ့ပြီးတော့ 5K ဟိုမှာ site ပုံစံထပ်ပြီးတော့ရတာတွေလို့ဒီဘက် video ဝင်လာမှဆိုလဲဒီဘက်မှာညုံပြန်ပြီးတော့
Do they know how much damage has been done? I think they've left all of the
ကောင်းတယ်ပါတယ်မှာအဲ့ဆိုတော့ဒီ side ပြီးသွားတယ်တခါတည်းဝင်လာမဲ့တပ်ပါတွေအကုန်လုံးတခါတည်း overall ပြတ်ချက်ပေးမယ်တယောက်ကရှိတာပေါ့နော်
making sure that they isolate their
အလကားရှက်ရှောင်းမရောက်ပါလာကရှောင်းဝမ်းရောက်နေမှာတာတို့
Boy Donkey
7 players ကောင်းတာပေါ့အဲ့လိုလည်းညံကောင်းဒီ let's go ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီ PF နေနဲ့ဂျိုးပိုယူရာဂျိုးဖိုင်ယူရာရစားတကယ်ကိုကျွန်တော်မြင်ရတဲ့မှာတကယ်ကိုစလုံးဖြစ်တာဖြစ်ပါတယ် final day လို့မျိုးဒီလိုနေ့မျိုးမှာဒီလိုတွေဆော့ပြနေပြီဆိုတော့ဘာမှပြောနေကွာပြုတ်သွားအောင်မယ် let's go ဘာမှပြောရင်ပြုတ်တယ်တိလား
What's going on? I am terrified for some of these squads because it is so terribly close.
The reaction is
top side from D+.
You are favorable.
High ground advantage.
Not the word argue. I'm top 10 when I but the guys got top 10 there. Piano ရောက်လာပြီနော် 11 就 run 3ကနေကျွန်တော်16တိအတင်းရပေါ့အကုန်ပြုတ်
You're right.
BM မှာနော်
though. I mean,
အရှိအောက်ကတင်းတော်များစီရတင်းနေပြီ
boulder gathers no moss, and that is a nice
Do something
now for Voin Donkey. They have managed to keep.
ဘိုတင်မှာငါတို့စီရတတင်း overall စီဆိုတော့ထဲမှာရဘိုတင်မှာ
on the western side as well. A decent shout into this game for another high point scorer. RRQ high ground now. Somehow they've turned this around against D+. They seem to be on the back foot for a while.
Already required ဖြတ်လာတော့တဲ့ RG အပေါ်ပြီးကနေပဲတောင်းရှောက်ပြန်ပြီးထိန်းနိုင်တဲ့တစ်လုံးနဲ့တော့ RG ဖက်ဖို့တော့ကျွန်တော် TK ပြန်ပြီးတော့ not ထားရည် Diesel she said ဒါပြီးတက်လာပြီးတယောက်တည်း Diesel နေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်တောင်းရှောက်အကုန်လုံးမုံနဲ့ shot gun နဲ့ပဲအကုန်လုံးရိုက်ခွဲဖို့တော့တက်လာပြီဖြစ်ပါဗျမဲ့သွားပြီဘယ်တဲ့ဘဒူတာနေရလဲဘဒူတာနေရလဲတိုင်းဘဒူတာနေရအမကိုရီးယား shot gun ဆိုအဲ့ဒါပဲ not the check you are nothing လုံးပြန်သွား
spray down but both of them fall. The stalwart chime in with a third party angle.
Well, they got a lot of limbs off that
though.
It's not enough to see them safe versus Thunder Talks, but you know, it's not the worst thing in the world.
ပပနဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော်ပြီးရတဲ့ရတော့ battery ဆက်ဆိုင်အောင်သူကောင်းပေါ်မှာလည်းတကောင်းအခုချိန်ရှိနေသေးမရှိတော့ပါဘူး CG လည်းပြတ်သွားပြီနော်1 point လည်းတော့3ယောက်လေးကင်းကောင်းကောင်းဆော့လို့ရနေတယ်ဗျာအခုချိန်မှာပဲဒီနောက်ဆုံး group ကျွန်တော်ပြီး PMGC ရဲ့ delete state ရဲ့ဒီ lobby ကဘလောက်တော့ safely ဆော့လဲဆိုဒီကုန်းပေါ်မှာယူပဲ3နှစ်ရှိပါတယ်ဒါကတော့ day 1မှာက day 2မှာစပြတာပါနော်ကိုတော့ day 2မှာစပြကြတယ်ကိုတော့ပြောရဲဒီ lobby က
in particular
with
even if you're the top 5 looking to break into top 3
လေကိမှာအတင်းတာအများကြီးကျန်တယ် lobby လို့ပြောလို့ရပါတော့ရှင်ပြောညံများတယ်ဗျာဒီ lobby ကအတင်းနေရတယ် EC နဲ့အညောင်နဲ့အဲ့လို sorry ဟိုလိုရန် aggressive ဘူးရှူပွားမဲမဲမြအခုပြည့်ဆိုရအတင်းမပါဘူးအဲ့ထဲမှာပါတော့ 4MV တကောင်ပဲပါနောက် 4MV ကပြန်ထိန်းလိုက်လို့တော့ငြိမ်နေတာအဲ့လိုဘူးရှူပွားချက်လုံးနေ
you can't be backing away
ဘွဲလောက် ER လိုက်နှစ်ဘွဲလောက်ပျောက်သွားလိုက်အဲ့လိုပဲဖြစ် ဖြစ်တယ်တော့ကျွန်တော် consistent ဖြစ်ဖို့ပဲဦးစားပေးပြီးတော့ 4M ကိန်းနဲ့တော့ပုံမှန်လေးပဲပြန်ထိန်းဆောင်နေပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်
defending off their corners no one can go for it just yet
ဒီမှာလည်းကျွန်တော် Mongo အတင်းနေကျွန်တော် stay ရောကျွန်တော် survive ဖြစ်နေတယ်ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက် late game ကျွန်တော် stay fight ကိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ပါလာရဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျ
so let's just
ကဲတပွဲလုံးကတော့မင်းသားပဲကျွန်တော် C ဟိုပါပဲလေ RCV တွေကတော့တောက်လျှောက်တုံနေနောက်ဆုံး late game တွေနောက်ဆုံး one လည်းပဲကျွန်တော်ဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျ
find a knock over towards
ဘာမှလည်းကျွန်တော် PF 6ကောင်းလာကျွန်တော်တက်လာပြီနော်ကျွန်တော်ဒီ top 3ရောမှာဆိုရင် T နဲ့ကျွန်တော် PF နဲ့တင်မဲ့ကြမယ်တော့ VD တွေကျွန်တော် high ground နဲ့ပြန်ပြီးထိန်းထားလို့ကျွန်တော် Fellet အပေါ်မှာတက်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် last sit down လည်းပြန်တော့ခါရဲပါတော့ပြီးခါရဲပါဖြတ်ဖချဖို့တော့ကျွန်တော်နေဒီကျွန်တော်မိုလိုဒီတလုံးဟုတ်ပြီနော်နော်ပြီနော်
something nice don't step on that please
Razor gets away from that but Sancho launches another forwards and a lot of damage could be in
ဒီတလုံးကတေးကြပါ
gets the flush that one's over the top of the first stage third catches it though an unfortunate timing on the run back
โอ้ยကောင်းတယ် come on တက်လာရှော့မပေးနဲ့အခါရဲချနော်ဒီလမ်းမရှိတာဘယ်လမ်းမှမရှိတော့ဘူးလို့
Potato and Voin Donkey ID shredded by these names a lot of investment from Stalwart
ဒီကနေ့တော့ကျွန်တော် Steam ပြန်တော့နေကူလုံးလုံးရှိရတယ်လေဆိုတော့ပေါ်နေပြန်ပြီးတက်လာတာတော့လုံးဝအတက်ကိုတကောင်နဲ့လာလို့မရတကောင်နဲ့လာတန်းပြောက်သွား
scoring opportunity maybe not so easy though as Vex is there ready to take that fight doesn't have any more first aid has one thrown over to him by Potato
okay ပြန်တော့တော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီတကောင်မချင်ဘူး2ပါရှုပ်ကွာအဲ့ဒါမှခိုင်းတဲ့ကန်လေးတော့မစိုးပြောတဲ့အတိုင်းပဲနော်ပြီးလိုက်တွေ့လားဒါပေမဲ့ shot ကတော့နိုင်တိုင်းဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီမှာ SD နဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက် VD တွေပဲ nothing လုံး head to head
Donkey will go out but with 6
တော့တော့ငါလေးတက်ကော1နှစ်ကောင်လုံးငါလေးနှစ်ကောင်အဲ့လိုဖြစ်နေကောင်းပြောနေပဲဒီတင်းပဲရောက်လာပြန်ပြီ
in rolls brute force
yeah
they smelt the eliminations on side and then
every time နော် every time is right time ပဲရောက်လာတော့ရောက်ရင် PF ကပြီးသွားပြီနော်အဲ့လောက်ဆိုရပြီနော်ဒါ
good denial
ဒီလောက်ဆိုရင်အဆင်ပြေသွားပြီဒီအတင်းကတော့တကယ်ဖြစ်တယ်ကျွန်တော် fight ထဲမှာတော့တကယ်ကြည့်ရအောင်အဲ့တင်း
quite a lot to these overall standings blank given that first place before this match was a tie that one point is make or break
ကျွန်တော်ဒီ Mexico အတင်းဆိုတော့ TT ဘက်ကလည်းကျွန်တော်ဒီနေဒီတိတ်မရှိတော့ဘာမှမရှိတော့ဗျာအဲ့တော့ TC ဘက်အနေနဲ့ဆိုတော့ဘာလို့ phone ဘက်ယူတက်ပြီးချနေကြတော့မပါတော့တက်ချတာ okay ဆိုတော့ phone ပြီးနှစ်ယောက် dog နဲ့ကျွန်တော် bro နှစ်ကောင်ပဲကြံမယ်ဗျာ TC ကအနေနဲ့နောက်ဆုံးကျွန်တော်နှစ်ယောက်ကျွန်တော်ကြံနေတဲ့နေတလုံးပြန်တော့ knock ခံထားတဲ့နောက်ဆုံး
but the nade over the top is there and Baron still alive finally an aid finds it and it's Team Liquid to chime in their central shack blank this is a big position for Team Liquid
this sprint to is 7 ထဲတော့ကြည့်လာအရင် aggressive တော့ဆော့လို့မကောင်းပုံမှန်လေးဆော့ရင်တော့ရပါတယ်
frequently squad mate on the side
ကောင်းတယ်ဒီနေ့တော့ဒီပွဲမှာကျွန်တော်အားချေတကယ် carry နေတယ် carry ဒီ compound နဲ့ key တွေ2ရွေးရနေပါတော့ဘယ်လိုမှမရအောင်
you still run
ကင်းနဲ့ short သွားပြီတော့အေးဒီတော့လူရှိတယ်မသိဘူးလားလို့
at least backpedal please
မတူတာတို့ version နဲ့ကျွန်တော် version ကားမောင်းရင်အဲ့လိုချက်ချင်းရက်ချင်းခုံချလို့မကောင်းကျွန်တော်တို့ version အဲ့တဘောတော့ရှိI need to PF နဲ့ Saki ကိုတော့အကုန်လုံးထပ်ပြီးတော့ရတာပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီဘက် ground ပြီးတော့ miss ကဒီဘက်အကုန်လုံးလိုက်ပြီးတော့ pressure ပြီးနေပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်
you can see just a sliver of red from 4B by the way
တော်လည်းကောင်းတယ်တော် right hand ဖြစ်လိုက်တယ်
he's alive and Doc's immediately like okay my teammate is there I need to go somewhere else
split
hey no ပါပြီ
I mean, a good thing he did in this instance.
It's like he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
Hey, Baron, don't heal that.
ကြီးစောခဲ့ရဆိုဒီပွဲလည်းဝန်နိုင်ကျဲတယ်ဟုတ်တယ်အဲ့မှာအကုန်လုံးကြုံ share ကြုံပဲ
I think that the was good from 4MV but for brute force this is it. This is where they start to make their breakout. There is a potential of 11 eliminations inside the lobby. It's not going to happen now just down to 10.
တော့ top တရားပဲချက်မယ်ပေါ့နော်။ဒါဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီ run 6ကိုရောက်လာတဲ့ 4M နေနဲ့ကျွန်တော်7 game နဲ့တူပဲကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်ကောင်နဲ့ key ထပ်ပြီးတော့ down နေတဲ့ fan ဖို့တော့ကျွန်တော်တယောက်တည်းပြန်တော့စောင့်နေလို့ပဲကျွန်တော်ပြောရမယ်ဗျ။ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက် GT တော့ကျွန်တော် shake ကျွန်တော် Argent နဲ့ရောက်လို့ compound တွေကနေဖတ်ဖို့တော့ BL WC တွေ BL Nate ဒီမမိုလိုတွေချားထဲမှာတော့အလူးလေးတော့ကျွန်တော်ခံစားနေရပြီ။ကျွန်တော် compound တွေဘလို့မှတော့ထွက်လို့ရတော့မှာမဟုတ်တော့ဘူးပြောရင်းနဲ့ပြီး dog ရဲ့ night တစ်လုံးနဲ့ပဲကျွန်တော်ရှင်းတော့တော့ပြန်တော့ not သွားပြီပြောလို့ပဲ dog ကဒီနားမှာအလကားလာငိမ့်နေမှာဟုတ်ဘူးနော်သူနဲ့ key က1 key 1 point နော်ဘယ်နှမရအဲ့နားတွေထိုင်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် fan ရဲ့ပုံစံမျိုးမှာရှိရသူဘယ်လောက်ယူနိုင်မလဲပဲကျွန်တော် dog ကိုကြည့်ရတော့မတိုင်
freeze nonetheless and the sweep around for brute force trying to take control of the team liquid
တင် liquid ရထားတဲ့ data လေးထဲမှာတော့ကျွန်တော်တော်တော်လေး defense ဆောင်နေတော့လွယ်တော့လွယ်ပါတော့တယောက်တော့ပြန်တော့ဝင်တယ်တော့မရဘူး
and the fact that these teams in the compound are fighting against each other is what is keeping him safe for the time being. Chief now has to stay
အားကျလေဒီနားမှာကျွန်တော်ပြတ်သွားပြီး shuffle ပဲဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော် TD နဲ့ consistent တော်တော်လေးဖြစ်တယ်လို့ပြောမှာဗျဒီမှာတုံးသိမ်းမဲ့ကြံမဲ့ကျွန်တော် PS ရဲ့ဟိုဒီရဲ့ massive ကိုတင် VC ပြီးတော့ tin liquid ပေါ့နော် tin liquid ကနောက်ဆုံး1လက်ပဲကြံမဲ့ဗျဒီပွဲက chicken စားနိုင်တာကတော့ PF ကတော့ circuit control အကုန်ရထားတဲ့အတင်းဆုပ်ပြီးမဲ့လဲပဲတော့ဒီရဲ့
across the top but
အစီကိုတင်လည်းဖြစ်နိုင်တယ်ပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့ massive ကိုတင်လောက်ပြလို့ကြံမဲ့ကားနှစ်စီးရှိရဲ့ကာကြီးတော့ကောင်းကောင်းအသုံးချနော် PF ကကောင်1-1ကွဲနေတယ် position ရဆိုတော့ PF ကဆိုတယောက်တနေရာကွဲနေတဲ့နေရာမှာဆိုရင်တော့တကယ် PS တော့ကတကယ်
made any crazy approaches in their past games. It's just been good circles, fortunate timings, and then some clutch moments. Especially, I'm having flashbacks now to Diminor versus Brute Force on a sliver of HP. Just makes the call to go for it. And well played. Diminor has been playing phenomenally well.
Oh, BYV. He didn't have a job,
nothing general. Now it's a 3v4. The Vicious on up, nearly going down all the way. Has a first aid, so we'll be able to top himself back up.
That's what I'm talking about.
A little bit.
Lady Fortune is on the side of the Vicious.
Okay, all right. But they are on the outside of the circle right now, and they are going to have to push forwards. The shack is still in play, but that's nadeable. Zeroed in on that almost perfectly now. I just wonder how many nades they've got left in this scenario. Smokes are blooming. Brute not getting too fresh with it. They heard that AMR. You know, you step too far forwards, you're going down. No two ways about it.
You're essentially waiting for Furia's POV, right?
Okay.
You want him to get a good off-angle pick. Off the back of that. I mean, the setup they've got is fantastic. But do they lose again? Is the question. Despite everything. Raze drops his backpack. Stay just out here, hidden away.
Neo's trying to bait these stand-ups, bait these peaks, and get the trades. Furia so ready to just lean out. Diminor is aware of this location and is keeping his eyes firmly on it. It looks like a lot of them are actually. They might try and isolate Furia here. I don't think they've got any more nades to play with. Certainly not on Reyes, not on David at the back. Diminor maybe, but I think if they had, they would have put them over towards Furia already and forced that. Steps out, gets back in healthy, no challenge. That's beautiful value from Furia, leaving them in a 4v2. And at this point, you do it. But Furia goes down. Freezer. Neos and Prepod not in a position to get the refrags. If he goes down now, Freezer just needs to stay alive. The smokes are there, and finally Neos is in for the fight as well. Reyes has to push. But Freezer falls, and now two players versus two. Prepod up onto the top of the shack, gets the high ground. And EMEA back on top.
You see, Freezer looks a little bit disappointed with himself there, and he should do, because the boogie play, although I respect that he wants to get the rundown, they had essentially a window. I think they had to move out in the boogie, they had a 4v2, a good lineup, they just have to play at the back of Furia. Interesting one. Still, they get the win. It's a fantastic game from them on that northwest side, the way they move down. And Prepod, yes, you are a good player, my dude.
Fantastic stuff from Brute Force, taking a chicken dinner. And in that game blank, I don't know if you caught it, but DRS, they're in 11th place as well.
Well, Brute Force, they have shown up here today wanting to claim that first place position and hold it down the rest of the day here and get their easy ticket in over to the UK. Jay Scampin joined by Hot Jukes and Maxman here in Brute Force.
What up?
I thought that was a really cool way they actually played out that match as well, going in from Primorsk and then also just doing like a delayed push out of Primorsk.
Yeah, Jason, we were looking this entire game. They were so adamant on playing these splits. And no, we've been criticizing Dogfood going for these splits and being too aggressive. No, a good split is when you get good information off the back of it and you don't commit to a fight when you're not ready for that engagement. And we have seen very little mistakes happening, Hotridge, this game from Brute Force on these splits. Sure, maybe sending it with a buggy, as Blank was saying, was a bit risky. But their Western splits to control and just obliterate everyone on the West was so well executed that it easily gave them access to an opportunity to win this match. Absolute clinic, this game.
Dude, look at the conversion rate from Neos there. Sheesh. 7 eliminations, 600 damage. And then on the other side, you got Furia with 5 lives, double the damage, 1,000. That is wild. I mean, the splits are ridiculous. You saw them in Primors, and they had a literally full-fledged split across the whole city. I mean, I haven't seen that in a zone like this in since I can remember, honestly. They tried to hold that whole city by themselves, but yeah, it was just gathering intel, getting that information, trying to see if a squad would move up. And that's the great thing about that side of the map, is that particular city, there's so many different ways where you could just kind of sneak your way through and just try to regroup with your team. So I mean, Brute Force, once they got that zone shift, they took the hill, and it was just a dominant victory for them. Honestly, this chicken dinner here, I think that locks them in for top 3. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think this is going to be the nail in the coffin for their position in top 3 and normally overtake and influence Rage. But I do want to highlight, though, some people might be looking at the stats like, oh, Neos, Prepod, Furia, they were carrying this game. Freezer did nothing. No. Sure, Freezer, elimination-wise, maybe wasn't that present, but he was serving as a strong anchor point for his team every single circle shift. He was making sure his team had a spot to rotate into while they were trying to just sweep Western teams like your Influence Rage, like your 77s, like your Boyne at some point. He was important.
It's the 77 in particular, Max, I think that you kind of point out, we're watching, like, obviously they had a couple of knocks from that third party they pulled off, and he was just away from his team trying to scout out, see where can we rotate to next off the back of this fight. And one thing for Brute Force that I think we saw in this match that we didn't really see too much in the past was when we looked back at the limb steals, like stolen eliminations, Brute Force were up there in total limbs with like your influence rages around like 65, but they had a 9% stolen limb ratio. Here, they were constantly looking for third parties, it seemed, because they had 77, then eventually they third partied onto the rest of like Stalwart versus Boyne, picking up a couple eliminations onto Stalwart, and then just kind of onto Boyne, and then full send it into that fight as well. I feel like they kind of changed their style a little bit with the edge play and more being third party oriented.
They were looking to overtake Influence Rage, Jason, for so long. They're like, if we can't beat them, join them. Just choose the steal eliminations every single game. No, their third parties were on point. They third partied the initial fight, then I think it was DRS versus 77. Then you had Boyne fighting Oracle on the northern side, another third party. Like, it was an absolute third party fiesta, this game for Brute Force. And again, it's down to the scouting because of those splits that were happening, Hotridge, that it made it possible in the first place. So Brute Force, again, a team going in this group that was like top 3 doesn't seem too achievable. Their playstyle is so damn consistent, man. And these splits at the end, again, were so good that at top 3, hell yeah, super deserving right now.
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, 23 points. I mean, that has definitely got to be it for them, right? They should easily be able to make it into the finals. And I love their playstyle when it comes to that teamwork, man. You know, they usually, when they do a 3-1 split, they do it at the right time perfectly, right? They're able to cover each other's angles and be able to just overwhelm these squads one by one. And since they're on top, man, it's going to be just so much easier after this, right? Because they have all the confidence in the world. They have such a big point gap here that they can afford to still make a few mistakes. You don't want to get a little bit too sloppy, too overconfident for sure. But I mean, if they continue to play like this, I mean, yeah, they're definitely going to be on top of this group for sure.
When you see Brute Force on the front page, you don't see Influence Rage there. That's 21 points that they were able to get more than the team who was ranked first place going into this game. But as we saw, there was just the tiebreaker of Chicken Dinner. So this should be a 21-point lead now for Brute Force over Influence Rage, not to mention all the other teams down below them here. But again, if you look at that leaderboard, like D+, unfortunately not having another good game. Who else here towards the bottom? We had DRS again, not having a great game. Alliance, you know, Kagasaka, these are teams who are on the brink of being sent home. RRQ in there was with only 2 points. You have to kind of wonder, like, are these bottom teams ever going to have that standout game? And to be perfectly honest with you two, you only need one game today to stand out like that to make top 11 with how this is kind of playing out.
So true. I mean, you really only need that one big game, and it's kind of crazy because the urgency is going to definitely have to be here now. Let's take a look at the overalls, and you can see, oh boy, things are starting to get spicy here. And I'm looking at the bottom of it because these are the teams that I want to see, you know, actually try to make a fight for that top 3. And we were kind of talking about this in the background, Max, man, when it comes to like Team Liquid. This is a big gap now. I mean, a solid one. It's almost 50 points, right? 48 total.
Yeah, I think
I don't think just playing center and hoping for the best is good enough. Like the only way you're gonna cross a gap like that is with eliminations. So you gotta hunt down squads, right?
I mean, when they were in the shed, I understood why they were not going for eliminations because it's just not quite possible at that point. But maybe instead of going for the center position and trying to play passive, you can maybe adopt a more edge sweeping playstyle. Ooh. That for sure. But the moment they were in the shed, it was rough. But here you go, DRS did. Is that the first time they pushed out of bottom 5? It feels like it.
I think so. Yeah.
Damn. I mean, that's a good change, but we need to still see some more. DRS, you got 1 point in this game. It was lucky because you were just 1 point behind, but it's not going to cut it. We need more than 1 point, DRS, and you might make it to the survival stage.
If Secret get a chicken dinner, just it was 0 eliminations, they're going to pass DRS, and they're in last place.
That's crazy.
That's kind of, again, how close it is. And yeah, DRS, you might be top 11 right now, but you're not safe whatsoever. There's even a couple teams above you that I would say are not safe. And we're obviously going to have to see how things play out here. I do kind of want to bring it back to something we saw between, it's technically, I guess, 3 teams. It was Kagasaka, Thunder Talk, and then Team Secret eventually, as we were towards Fairy Pier in one of these compounds. I was just curious what your thoughts and how they kind of played things out here, because we were kind of hoping that they would somewhat share the compound instead of actually looking for the fights, realizing that this is a really good place to play from as the zone progresses.
We've been talking a lot, Jason, about how third parties in this group, like we had the group of center play in Group Yellow, Red it was Edge, and now it's group of third parties, this group, it feels like. And I have to highlight Team Secret. Like, you have Thunder Talk Gaming fighting versus CAG Osaka over in that compound that you mentioned, Jason. Team Secret, like, okay, we're struggling to find a good position in the circle. We have to just send it, and if we're lucky, we get control of a great central position in the circle, and we can get a few eliminations here and there. Sure, Secret did not end up making it into the podium scenario of this game, but the third party was super, super important for Secret to just enable them to maybe have the opportunity to reach that late game. So Team Secret still want to be a bit careful because they can be a threat in this lobby.
Yeah, I'll give it up to you, honestly, the Vicious. I think the Vicious rotation was even more impressive. These guys rotated to the center so late, but they made it, and that's the risks you have to take when you're on so low on the leaderboards. You got to clutch it up here.
All right, we're going to find out if teams can clutch it up yet again as we head into our second airing of the day with John Allen and Blink.
Thank you very much to the guys over on the desk. We're going to be heading on in to match number 21. We are into the closing moments now. From the shooting range down to Sosnovka, the plane path going down the middle of the island will be pretty chill. All the teams will have access to their favored drop spots. Should be nice and easy for them. But where will the circle go? That remains to be seen.
They gotta clutch it up, and that is the story of the game here so far, because there has been a lot of teams that do need to get themselves up towards the top of the tables, but more so than ever, it is incredibly difficult to make that happen just because of how close a lot of these teams are. From the back of one game to the next, it can be a completely different set of teams towards 7th, 8th, and 9th at the moment. It's terrifying. It's a terrifying place to be in going forward. And I think that, you know, you have this horrible sense of, do we play safe or do we play aggressive? And how do we balance that? Because it truly is a balancing act right now of where you're getting your points from. Do you take risks? Because a risk could end your tournament life right now. This is why I respect Void Donkey so much for what they're doing at the moment, because it is a very, very tough thing to go for in these closing moments of being like, we might not have had the best tournament. We might have looked like the weakest coming into day one. However, now we've got to show our not so sharp fangs.
That's right. North Circle, blank. Of course it is. Wouldn't have any other way. We are going back up towards the north side of the river, most likely, and seeing what they could do. Team Liquid sent a wide split out with Ayala actually in Severny. Nobody joining him just yet, but that may change given how the circle sits. And the question for me is, how quickly will Team Liquid get there? Because Brute Force, it's not unlikely that they just crash straight into Severny as well. Hopefully Ayala's ready for it.
Yeah, and I think that you're right. And Brute Force have done this multiple times in the past over in
Cái đến nó
EMEA,
rồi tốn
where
quên
they
miệng
have gone for a Severny drop. Though 9 times out of 10 they have lost on a Severny drop. I will like to remind people of that. So we'll see what happens. But versus just one player, entirely doable. Entirely doable. And this is an aggressive split from Team Liquid, which I think could come back to bite them, like you're saying, John, as Prepod's already making his way on over. Mike sent to the eastern side of Severny, which would be the smartest choice, which is what he's going for here right now, stopping in the shop. Isla's in trouble.
He is. There is a regroup from 2 of the Team Liquid players, and of course, Brute Force just grabbed vehicles and went there straight away, which means they don't have loot. Prepod is getting a little bit decked out now, though, has got that M4 and that DPS, so can go for fight. Doesn't have the helmet, doesn't have everything that he may. Brute Force have now fully surrounded, however, onto this location. Team Liquid, I wouldn't quite call it a hot drop, but a chosen engagement here on the first rotate set for both Team Liquid and Brute Force. Ayala had a vehicle, could have rotated out back to the west to try and play that angle. Brute Force, they started dropping around those South George vehicles, and they have rotated into this one too. So this is an optional fight that both teams have looked to go for.
These things like a side mission right now.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I'm seeing.
I mean, for Severny, it's a great starting point for this particular circle indeed. Again, like to remind everyone, Brute Force has lost nearly every single one of their hot drops and fights in Severny. I don't know if they've been doing some research, some planning.
I think
good choice. Good choice.
The research has concluded if we don't fight, we don't lose, which in this case may be quite helpful. Other fights, sure, great, excellent at those. For some reason, Severny, not so fun.
Very, very bad.
Really terrible.
I respect that from Brute Force. If I can't do a handstand, I'm not going to try to do a handstand. Pick up on Severny. They're not going to try and fight Severny.
That's fair.
I think it's the smart decisions to go for. And there is compound, there is loot on that northeast side as well. And with Brute Force being in first place, that's sort of a decision where it's like, oh, it's 20 points ahead, we just need to profit. It would be really bad, guys, wouldn't it, if we all died in the first 2 minutes of the game here in Severny. So,
keep 4 alive. I think 4 alive, yeah, gotta go for that.
It's a good thing. Oh, yeah. It's a tough decision to make, though, a lot of times, really, because it is a case of swallowing your pride a lot. I mean, like, we are just rubbish. So, I think we just have to give it up at this point. And that's fair enough. So for Brute Force to be able to get up towards first place, I think there has been a lot of swallowing of their pride. And I think that they learn far quicker than some of the other teams in this lobby that this isn't actually that easy. We're going to have to play a little bit more smart here, as it has been a super chaotic lobby. I think, again, I said it yesterday, but if you went back and watched Group Red and Group Yellow, the organisation of the rotates, in terms of reading into where people are playing, it was far cleaner than Group Green has been so far, which means there's a lot more chaos to be had.
ဒီဘက်ချက်မှာဆိုလည်းကျွန်တော်ဒီကေတွေဆိုတော့ဒီ permanent school ကနေပြီးတော့တောက်ရှောက်ဒီဘက်ချမ်းဘလို့တော့ဝင်လောင်ဒီနားလေးကိုဒီကောင်လေးဝင်နေဘူး Rosa နဲ့ Rosa နဲ့တော့
wasn't implying that until
ဒီကနေတော့လည်းကောင်းပါ
which is why they're currently
stable လောက်ပြီးရဆိုရင်တို့ stable လောက်လည်းတော့တခါတည်းရွှေ့လို့ရတယ်ပေါ့နော်ကောင်းတယ်တော့ဒီပွဲဒီကေရွှေ့လာတဲ့ဘက်ချမ်းမန်ဝိုင်းလို့ပဲပြောရမယ်ဗျ
20 points behind now
ဒီဘက်ချက်မှာဆိုလည်းကျွန်တော် RQ နေနဲ့ကျွန်တော် Indonesia အတင်း88မှတ်လက်ရှိ run 73မှာဆိုတော့နည်းနည်းတော့ပြုတ်စော်တော့နန်နေပြီလို့တော့ပြောလို့ရတယ်တာကြီးလို့ဂျူလီယာတော့ဒီ top 10 တွေကိုမပြုတ်အောင်တော့တဲနဲ့ရုံးကန်ရမယ်ရက်လို့ပဲပြောရမယ်ဗျဒီနေ့ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ပြီးပါပြီဒီဘက်ရှောင်းဆိုတော့ TT စာကေကိုပဲပြန်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် rotate ပုံမျိုးနဲ့ site ပုံစံတော့ပတ်ပြီးတော့ဝင်တယ်လို့ပြောရမယ် state 1မှာတော့စာကေကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက် channel တော့သုံးဖို့တဘောရက်စရနာဖတ်ဖို့တော့ကျွန်တော်အားလုံးရောက်လိုက်ပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်
conflict potentially still on the road for Thunder Talk
ဒီပွဲမရှိတော့ပါဘူး
Stalwart, like I said, keep secret ahead of them. There are no strangers to rough fights, though, so I think for Thunder Talks might not go horribly for them. Meantime, D Plus did make their rotate over towards that northern side. There's a strong rotate. Whether or not they can cap that.
စီမပြေဘူးပေါ့နော်ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်မုံကိုအတင်းဒါပေမဲ့ဝယ်တက်ဖို့တော့ရုံရတော့မယ်ဗျ ပွဲ106မှတ်ဆိုတော့လေ run 9မှာ Yes ကတော့ခဏက game 1 chicken တပွဲနဲ့ပဲ11တော့ပြန်ရောက်လာတယ်ဆိုတော့သူတို့အမတ်တွေကတော့ပွဲလို့ယူနိုင်မှမရမယ်ပေါ့နော်အမွတ်တပွဲ2စွန်းတာနဲ့တခါတည်းတို့ဒီအောက်ပြန်ရောက်သွားမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျဒီမှာဆိုတူဂီတင်ပွဲတိုင်းလို့တုတ်နေတဲ့အသင်းပေါ့နော်then ကျွန်တော်ဒီ ransom point 112မှတ်နဲ့တော့တောက်ရှောက်တော့ပြန်တော့ကမ်ပတ်လာတယ်မနေ့က day 3မှာပလီတွေကြော်ပြန်ရတာလို့ပြောရမယ်ဒီအတွက်လည်းမစိုးသေးဘူးလို့ကျွန်တော်ပြောမယ်ဗျဒီစကားလေးကျွန်တော် state 2တော့စပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် chain တော့မယ်နောက်တဲ့15 second
We're back. Slight technical difficulties, but back again.
ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်ဂျပန်တင်းနေတဲ့မှာစီရတော့ဆင်ပြေနော်ဒီ
3, 2, 1.
ဒီမှာပဲပြုတ်လာတယ်နော် Okay ဒီမှာဆိုတော့လည်းကျွန်တော်အားလုံးချစ်တဲ့ဒီ group ရဲ့
Team Liquid
အကချဆုံးပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်
Force obviously did
ဒီပဲ middle ball မျိုးပြန်ပြီးထားနေတူတယ် BF ဒီဘက် channel မှာဆို Team Liquid ပြီးကျွန်တော်77နေတော့ server တွေအားလုံးထိုးဝင်လာပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျဆိုတော့ဝဲဒီကျွန်တော်အပြင်ကနေဆော်လဲကောင်းတယ်ပေါ့နော်အတွင်းထဲဝင်ဆော်ရင်တော့ကျွန်တော်အောက်ကြလို့တော့မရတော့ဘူးလို့ပဲပြောရမှာဗျတော့ပြောတော့ရှိတယ် shooting ဘက်ကိုဖြတ်ပြီးမောင်းဝင်လာတယ်တင်းနှစ်တင်းကျွန်တော် IF တဲ့အာကျတော့လမ်းကြောင်းကျွန်တော်စပြီးထပ်တော့ထပ်သွားပြီသူကစပြီးရပ်ပြီးပြစ်မလဲဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရတော့မယ်ဗျ
over towards that northeast
အဲ့ဒါရှေ့ကနေလဲကျွန်တော်ယူကနံပါတ်ကိုတောင်းလျှောက်ပြီးအကုန် live ကိုမောင်းနေကောင်တော့ live ပြီးတော့စစ်ပေးနေသူစစ်တာလေးကောင်းနေပေါ့နော်မောင်းတစ်ခုလွတ်ထားတော့ကျွန်တော်နေရာတစ်ခုတော့ရသွားပြီလို့ပဲပြောမယ်ဗျအဲဒီမှာဆိုလည်းကျွန်တော်မလေးအတင်းနေကျွန်တော်စပြီးတော့တိုးလာတဲ့လမ်းကြောင်းမှာဆိုလည်းဒီ high ground ထိန်းထားတဲ့ကျွန်တော် OMV ကဒီ zone တွေမှာအမြဲတမ်းဒီ ground အမြဲတမ်းထိန်းနေပေါ့နော်တို့အနေနဲ့တော့ကျွန်တော်လေးအတင်းနေလည်းကျွန်တော်တီတော့တီတာအရင်လောက်တာမျိုး stage 2မှာတော့ကျွန်တော်ဘာမှတော့မမြင်တာတည်းဘူးကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်ချင်းမီလေးကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်စီတိုင်းတွေတော့ပြန်ခွဲပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ထိန်းနေရတာဒါပေမဲ့ကျွန်တော် 4MV ဘက်ကတော့ light တော့ချောင်းနေပေါ့နော်တို့ဘက်မကြုံလာတော့ဒီမှာတော့ကျွန်တော် suffer နေတယ်မသိနေလည်းကျွန်တော်3သိန်းဖြစ်တော့ကျွန်တော် PF ရှိမယ်77ပြီးတင်လေးပဲအဲ့ Mr. K ပဲရထားတဲ့3သိန်းပဲဖြစ်သွားတယ်ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီပွဲလဲကျွန်တော် PF တွေကထပ်ပြီးတော့အဆင်ပြေသွားပြန်ပြီဗျ။ဘာပြော state 2မှာကျွန်တော် mid ဘောမျိုးရထားတယ်ဆိုတော့တော်တော်ရွှေ့လို့ကောင်းတဲ့ position အနေထားတွေပေါ့နော်။ကောင်းလေ okay နည်းနည်းလေးတော့ထိတယ်ဟိုဘက်ကလည်းပြန်ပြီးတဲ့ damage တွေလည်းကောင်းတယ်။အဲဒီမှာဆိုလဲကျွန်တော် PF ကတရက်
It's really unfortunate. And for pre-pod, it's going to be a while before he gets res. Before he gets res. 20 to 30 seconds. Which means that they can't like the good thing is that Team Liquid and 77, they're playing on the borders. They're not pushing through this one. And I don't think that they very likely ever would until the next circle shift. And it would have to shift on towards Severny, right? That's when you would start to think about going for it. But for 77, what's the point of going across that road when you know you're going to be so open to Team Liquid? They have incredible sightlines down that road crossing and straight into a fight that you don't know if you can win, right? Against Brute Force, and maybe Brute Force are lackluster in their Severny fights, but in general, you still don't want to be fighting. So I think for now, we'll see peace in Severny on the Liquid side.
It's a similar situation to what we saw from that last game where you had Thundertalk, CAG, and 4MV all in the same location, just because they knew that likely if they just chilled out there, they were going to get a top 5 easily, which they did come towards the end of the game. So for Brute Force, 77, as well as Team Liquid, they're all just happy to sit this one out, essentially, for the remainder of the game, or at least until the circle shifts away from Severny. I don't think it's going to do that anytime soon, at least, unless it is
state 3
towards the west. But we'll wait and see.
Shooting ring ပြန်ပြီးဆွဲလာပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ဒီညမှာကျွန်တော်တူကြီးတင်းနေကျွန်တော် RCB အကုန်လုံး mid ball မျိုးကျွန်တော် shooting ring နဲ့မထိန်းနိုင်ဝင်ရတာလေးလို့ high ground ဘက်မှာဆိုရင်တော့ပိုရမရှိမယ်ပြီးရင်ကျွန်တော် PMGC တွေရှိတယ်
going over to the shooting range.
ဒါတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီစုံခုန်ခံသွားရတဲ့အတင်းတွေတော့ဒီဘက် side မှာပြဿနာတော့စပြီးတက်လာတယ်နော်ကျွန်တော် SD ရောက်ကျွန်တော်ခါဒီတယောက်တော့လုံးဝအပါခေါ်ခံလိုက်ရပြီကျွန်တော် DRS နဲ့ဆက်ပြီးတော့တိုးနေရမယ်ကျွန်တော်လမ်းကြောင်းနဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဒီ Safari ကိုပဲကျွန်တော်ဖြတ်မောင်းအောင်ဆိုတော့တော်တော်လေးတော့ risk များတဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဒီနေရာနေဆိုဝင်ရမှာလို့ပြောမယ်ဗျ
circle blank so they can chill out for a little while longer.
နောက်ခံတင်းနဲ့ချိန်
go Thundertalk trying to move on through. They're going straight for the bunker as well on the north side of the shooting range, but Void already here. Thundertalk may have just bitten off way too much. There's no way they could chew it.
ဒီနေဝူရှူဝါပဲဝင်လာတာတော့တကယ်ဝူရှူဝါပဲ short ဝိုက်ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်။ကောဒီပွဲကတော့ TT ကတော့2ဆွမ်းသွားပြီ
This is what I want to see.
သတိထားပါရပါအဲ့လိုတော့လုံးလို့မရအောင်နော်အဲ့လိုတော့စိတ်မရှိလုံးလို့မရအောင်နော်နောက်ဆုံးရက်ကစိတ်ရှည်မှရမှာနော်ဘရော Oliver Flash Right ပေါ့အနေနဲ့တော့တီတီတင်းလောက်တော့ wipe out ဖြစ်သွားပြီဖြစ်သွားပြီ
They're feeling themselves. They're in 7th place. Just 4 more points away from hitting 6th. What an incredible comeback it has been from Boing Donkey. Final throws of the tournament as well.
ဒီဘက်ကန်ထောက်သွားတယ်ဒီပွဲက
Very encouraging last night, or really had a lot of things to say. Quite loudly.
BF 7-7နဲ့တော့ရှော့လိုက်ပြီးတုံနေနော် BF လည်းထပ်ပြီးတော့ဒီဆိုတော့ဆိုင်ရတော့မယ်ဗျ
More of that please 77 now actually brute force initiating this fight flex out towards 77
ဝက်ချန်အနေနဲ့ပြန်ပြီးတဲ့ damage ရှိနေတယ်7-7တယောက်တော့ပေါပေါ်လာရတယ်3ယောက်ကျော်ကျော်မယ်အိမ်နဲ့2ယောက်တော့ကျွန်တော်တကယ်ကျုံးတယ်မြန်ကျုံးပါရအောင်ဟုတ်နော်
Frieza and Furia moving out this way I mean they know that at some point they're going to have to go for this fight. The question is always timing on the scenario. But a big nade over through the rooftop for Shifu. Finds Frieza. They thought they had it, but perhaps the clock was just a little bit too fast here for brute force. And they pulled the trigger too soon. In go the shots. Furia has to step out. See you later. He's out of there. Not so long though, because
round 1တင်လဲဒီပွဲမှာတုတ်တော့ကနေရပြီကျွန်တော်ဒီ2ယောက်တော့တော့သွားပြီဘယ်2ယောက်လဲလုံးဝ backup ပြီးလို့မရအောင်
Limbo boom.
အပါ fire ပြီးလို့ရပြီ
Spraying the S12K. Reasonable approach as well. Neos sending the smokes over, but I think it's too little too late for brute force here. That player's likely not getting across.
I mean, he's completely open on the roadside right now. Fortunately, Team Liquid have left the south of Severny. I feel like Furia has been spotted. I'm not too sure from where or how he's making this, but no. Okay, Shifu puts him out of his misery. I was feeling it a little bit there. I was getting excited. I thought we might see him back.
Oh no. ကောင်းတော့ဖွင့်ပြီးပဲလိုက်တယ်အဲ့တော့ဖွင့်ပြီးနဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်လေးတင်ပါတော့လေးတင်နဲ့တော့ကြည့်ရအောင်မယ်
Team Liquid as well moving out of the south side of Severny and D plus Kia for MV. The two teams looking to push their way up, take Thundertalk out of the top 3.
It's an amusing fight actually for brute force and a sad set of circles really going into stage 4.
လေကြော်ဒီရဲ့2ယောက်ထဲပဲ survive လုပ်ဖို့တော့အေးအဲ့ဘက်သွားရင်မားမှာနော်
towards the south and these teams could have easily played
သွားချင်တယ်လို့နေရာ save place ဆောင်
considering it comes back over towards
တို့လည်းပြန်ဝင်လိုက်
but Team Liquid they take their opportunity to head down towards that south side they have a strong spot to play in RRQ taking shots back and forth between them and RCB but Razor once again rattling off shots over towards RCB.
Donkey still on this northwest side. Fighting from this bunker position can be really, really tricky, but it seems like they're handling it. That pressure not quite getting to them just yet. We'll see if that continues. Sia Giosaka are trying to flank out on the west side, so could prove to be troublesome. You've got Influence Rage as well, pushing in from that north edge. So a lot to contend with here into the next circle. And a difficult move ahead of them if they have to leave this position. Brute force, they leave Severny, and they're into the survival for them.
Yeah, it's the only real play here for them. They just need to get a consistent game and hope that Influence Rage doesn't go crazy on this match, but they are up towards that northwest side. They're going to struggle to get in along that ridge side. 4MB currently battling off against Cellcom Digi Alliance. An initial nade from the one and only Doc himself. It's Reefus.
ဘာဘောမနေတော့ဖက်ပေါ်တော့မဝင်လာအောင်တော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်မလေးတင်းတော့တောက်ရှောက်ပြန်ပြီးထိနေရပါတော့ကျွန်တော်တော့fresh တော့ပြန်မပေးနိုင်ဘူးကျွန်တော်မလေးတင်းတယ်ပြန်တော့တော့တင်းပြန်တော့ကိုင်ပေးနေကျွန်တော်ဒီတင်းနေဘယ်ကိုသွားမလဲကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရမယ်တော့ကျွန်တော် full ပဲတော့လုံးဝ fresh ပြန်မပေးနိုင်ဘူးဗျ
Reefus looking for that spray but not still able to connect it. On the south side 4MV just holding the top of this hillside and Cellcom Digi Alliance trying to move on that east side. Sia Giosaka out on the west. DRS, they are suffering right now a little bit on the east side, but they managed to transition down towards the south. They still have Sleepy all the way up by Severny. So they have got a wide 2-2 split with Gianti down in the blue zone pushing. Not going to be res, so DRS on 3.
DRS down to two players on that south side with Killer an example. Sleepy attempting to make his way in. Right now, not doing too bad at all, finding a nade over towards Transix. So the solo from DRS on that north side still staying alive. Even taking shots over towards the players who are rotating in towards the shack, and he knows it's smoked off now. Not likely. Line of sight's going to be open to him. Transix does get stolen away by Team Liquid down towards this southern edge, as we said before. Influence Rage playing this game out nice and slow on that north side. Ooh, that's a nice nade. Just goes slightly short though.
They're still doing damage, and I imagine they got one or two more left to play with as well. D plus Kia on the east side. They're in that compound. They're in the buildings. Have to transition away, though, most likely in the next circle. There will be now. 4MV still in a really important position. But they do have a better shot at this one than D plus Kia, I think.
Yeah, for D+, this is where they need to pull out the big boy guns, because realistically, so far for D+, it has been such shy gameplay from them. The rotates have been fine. They've been nice. We discussed this beforehand. However, it's that mid-game where they're struggling a lot. And it's a similar problem we saw from Mir and Sejong, where from mid to late game, they are good to get towards that position. Capitalizing on that position, though, is a completely different story. With Nolbu having to back things off, get the first aid kit through. See what D+ can get done here, because it has been a real fall from grace for them.
Okay, TK နဲ့စောင်းလာစောင်းနေတယ်ဒီဘက် ST လည်းရှိနေဆိုတော့အရင်တိုးလို့မကောင်းနေဘူးဒီဘက်တင်းနေဒါတဲ့ဝူရှူကဝင်လာမဲ့တင်းနေလို့တော့တစ်ချက်အခြေအနေကြည့်နေလို့ပြောတယ်ဗျဒါတွေကတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်မလေးအတင်းကတော့ခုနက4 MV မောင်းထုတ်လိုက်လို့ဒီဘက်ချမ်းရောက်လာလို့ပဲကျွန်တော်ပြောရမယ်ဒီနေရာနဲ့ပြန်ပြီးရွှေ့ဖို့တော့ဒီလေးလုံးပြင်ပြီးတော့ ST ကောင်းပေါ်တဲ့ကိုကြာလာမလားပဲကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရမယ်နေလေးလုံး1 2 3 come on
And there's beautiful nades coming through from Celcom Digi Alliance. They want to close this one down fast and regroup to try and put pressure back over towards the high ground.
It's a hell of a barrage there. I'm surprised both those players didn't go down.
4MV တော့ရှော့ရအောင်နေလိုက်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်လိုက်ပြီးတော့ဒုက္ခပေးနေမှာဖြစ်ပါရဲ့
The one player from Team Secret still alive here. Break does get knocked.
ကောင်းတယ်မလေးတင်းနဲ့ပြန်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ကားရင်းနဲ့အကုန်လုံးပြန်ပြီးမောင်းပြတာပါเนาะဒါ fake ပေါ့เนาะ ဦးရှင်အောင်မောင်းနေရဖြစ်ပါရဲ့
So D+ currently taking two fights at the same time.
ဟိုကောင်နေတော့ဖြတ်လိုက်တော့လीဖြတ်တော့ဘူးလားအဲ့ဒါလည်းစုံဝင်လိုက်တော့
4MV who is
ဟုတ်လေငါတို့အဲ့ရသိပြန်တော့
question themselves
ကောင်းတယ် let's go ပြန်ပြီးတော့ Jimmy ကျွန်တော်တော့တိုင်းဒီချမ်းမှာတော့လေ SD လေးချားနေမှာအားလုံးပြတ်သွားပြီဖြစ်ပါရဲ့ဒီနေရာမှာတိတာနေရတော့ကျွန်တော် 4MV ကတကယ်လေးမာလေးနဲ့ပဲထိန်းဆော့နေရလို့ပြောရမယ်ဒီမှာဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်2ယောက်ပြန်ပြီးတော့နောက်ခံထားရသေးတယ်ကျွန်တော် TK လေးတစ်ယောက်ပြီးတော့ပြီးလိုက်ရပြီလို့တော့ကောင်ပါဝိုက်ပြတော့ကျွန်တော် TK လေးလည်းနောက်နေကျွန်တော်တောက် shot ပြန်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် pressure တော့လိုက်ပြီးအပေါ်နဲ့အောက်နဲ့ဂျားထဲမှာတော့ညက်နေတာတော့ကျွန်တော်မလေးရှားတင်မယ်ဖြစ်ပါရဲ့
Come on, you have to hit these shots here. Where's the rest of the squad? In comes
Osal. The vehicle finally is done. 5 eliminations and Nolbu leads the charge on that one. And they, although they lose Nolbu there, they desperately need him to make that call. Because D+ has been falling far behind. Do we not go these aggressive plays? And I think Nolbu realizes in the third game of the day here, someone's got to make that initiation. Someone's got to take leadership, and it would be Nolbu in that case, picks himself up 3 eliminations off the back of that one as well. And now D+ have to follow in his footsteps.
Brute force at the top spot. Looking to try and stop Influence Rage and challenge for it on that northern edge. We'll see if they can keep that top spot under contest. D+ Kia gonna have that northern side area, but it is Influence Rage to go down first. Brute Force taking that one down, or well, rather outlasting that one on the northern side. And they will just have to try and keep it up for the next game because yeah, so a 4M.
Oh. Hey, they did not. အရင်မနေ့ကလည်းမတူတော့ဒီကေကလိုက်ကြုံပြီအဲ့လိုတွေလုပ်ပြီးတယ်မနေ့ကအဲ့လိုတော့ကြုံဖို့သူတို့မှတိုင်မင်းနဲ့ခေါ်နေရကြာကြီးအားနဲ့ပဲတည်ဒီနေ့တော့တကယ်ကြုံကောင်းတယ်
Yes, Fabian's finding Cardozin. That's a fantastic pickup for D+. Now they can control Team Liquid, who are down below. This was a good game for Team Liquid as well, up to 7 eliminations, 77 on 7 eliminations themselves. But it is Void Donkey still going.
Sorry. Nades launched on forwards, the parabolas permeating the shell. The Seiji Osaka have tried to establish. It's not going to go well for them. And Void Donkey, they're up to 7 elims blank. This is a team revitalized, and you love to see it. Coming into today, 1 game, you could chalk that up to luck. 2 games, you could chalk that up to, I don't know, double luck. But 3 games in a row, this is something special. A really strong performance coming through from Indonesia. And they will be happy with this one so far.
Syria though, Indonesia didn't win the game at the totally.
Here though, still got Team Liquid to handle. They've only got 2 players on the outside. The hop out wide, Ayala picked up, but it's going pear-shaped here. Fabian, the only one to stand for them, and D+ Kia gonna lose players. He's not in position. The nade over the top doesn't quite clap where he's looking for it. And Fabian has to worry. I think he's just gonna have to play on the solo. Team Liquid may be able to get the rest down. Oh, disaster strikes as Team Liquid resurge from underneath.
Nice job from Team Liquid. They do lose
a good
amount of eliminations. Liquid securing their spot on this Eastern side is very big news for them. Good.
Top 5
I mean, for Void Donkey, that's the team that I'm most curious about right now. Of 8 eliminations so far. So that's what they needed to reach RCB's scoreline from that last game. They've already done it, but RCB were able to get 2 eliminations so far. So still a little bit ahead, but what a comeback from the Void Donkeys.
Fantastic. Over to 77 now, they will turn their attention. Smoke's going to give them a little bit of cover from that south side. Against RCB, the last player from Brute Force as well. This is good news. And 4MV continue to put pressure on this east side. I think 4MV right now in the position to do the most damage to the tables. But the top 5 keeping lockstep with one another has got to be intimidating. How much further can 4MV go to keep themselves in that race?
Chance on Orangle where they picked up the majority of their big points in the past. Now look to do it again here. 77 with those 7 eliminations, get themselves to 12th place though.
We need to do high ground or low ground.
It's so volatile. It's so closely fought. Finally looking to slow down the donkeys. Not going fully down just yet, but starting to bleed. The heal comes through from Potato. The flush to one of their players, though. They will only have 3 left.
I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, for the Void Donkeys, it has been such an uptick in performance.
He cooked.
The counts rising from the coffers.
He's
just biding his time. I mean, 4MV will take shots at him as soon as he stands up, but has Loxy? Loxy hasn't seen it. There's no way he's seen it. There's the heal. His body might just fall over him. Oh, by mistake, no! Just misses. Nearly clips him. Loxy, no way! No way! And this is a free point for Prepod. The question, and he turns around immediately. That's discipline. That's just waiting for the teammate behind him. He doesn't know if he's made it to the tree, if he's drawn short, or if he's up to the ridge line. But now his position is known. Gets an extra point for Brute Force. Finishes in 5th. That's probably as valuable as that position is going to get for them. So a nice timing on that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's decent stuff there. Nade goes through over towards KYMYZ. Getting good at it now. Potato will drop out, but I think for the counts, they're honestly quite happy with this. If they get a 3rd place off the back of this game, it is a very, very good result.
4MV looking to try and close this one out, put themselves back towards those top 3 spots. 2-2 split right now.
I didn't know Jamie like it.
77 have the middle, but playing on with 2. Donkey ID. Fighting from the outskirts. The high ground for 4MV, really difficult for them to handle. Will get pushed off though by the police. So they're just waiting, biding their time before 4MV have to move as well.
Reefers. Backing it up. Excited to see how this one will conclude because it really does have a big impact on the point standings, especially for the Void Donkeys, who come in looking incredibly strong. So pleased with them as well. And I mean, I love a team on the last day who is down there look and just says, let's just go for it. Let's just take this as far as we can go. And it has been with skill as well. You can tell these guys have been going home after every tournament day and been like, what can we change? What can we improve on? What can we do better? And they're showing that right now during these games.
They've fought through the worst of it, but it might be too much to make this next push. They need to get up to the wall, but 77 are in the way. I think that Void Donkey do go down here with 4MV in massive crossfire positions, but maybe they can prove me wrong and land some long-range pickoffs over towards the high ground. Because 4MV have crawled forwards, they've gotten to the next set of ridge lines. It's going to allow them a little bit more power here. See this entire approach. 77, that extra force that's just stopping them from getting any further.
Nade over the top. Last circle now, John. Void Donkey. Probably the next to go. Good shots from Reefers with this overground. Shifu, if they go out first, it's a second place for the Donkeys. What a result for them. The 4MV with 8 eliminations might just be finding that chicken dinner that they've been hounding after for so long.
They're looking for more as well. The nade over the top. 4MV looking to put themselves back into the top 3. And with the roll over the top, the DBS shutdown, that is what they will find. A great game for 4MV. Fantastic display from Void Donkey. We'll be happy with the result in match 21.
4MV been so close multiple times, but there it is. And it's a much better play from them. Very disciplined over towards the eastern side. They've all calmed it down. You can definitely tell from looking at their faces here. There was a couple of sighs coming through being like, finally, we've made it work. And I think that they might have just figured things out. But is it too late for them?
Is there enough time? Do they have the gas left in the tank? They are in the conversation, but we have to wait for the conclusion. To do that, we are going
Yeah, discipline's a good word for it. I know, you know, Max, you're kind of not happy with the win out of 4MV, but not necessarily about them winning, but more about other teams giving these high ground positions away to 4MV to take for free.
Yeah, I was hyping myself up, Jason, like, oh, there's going to be this massive fight in the southern side of the map. There's going to be all the teams fighting for the high ground control. And it didn't happen, like, at all. Like, CAG just like, oh, no, we're just going to play south off shooting range. We're just going to play in the dip and then just try and survive. Like, oh, we'll try and get a few placement points. And then on the east, Alliance try and fight a third party on DRS and Stalwart, which I don't dislike, but then they just completely give up on the whole idea of playing high ground. And 4MV, well, you're giving us the best position in this circle, Hot Juice, for free. So guess what? We're just going to pop off.
That's right. They said, nah, I'd win, dude. And they did. Beautiful done. I mean, like, Doc, especially 3 eliminations, 700 damage, leading the charge when it comes to damage-wise. But Reefus getting that extra elimination on board. I mean, this is a win that they so desperately needed. Let's be real, guys, right? Like, there's starting to be a little bit of a gap, right, between that 3rd and 4th place position. So 4MV, I mean, with this chicken dinner, they had to have cleared it easily, right, Jason?
I think that match was a sign, as Blink did say, about their discipline, and I think the realization that we can't keep playing like we were if we want to make top 3 and get straight through the grand finals. I think it's really important to see them be able to, you know, wrangle in Doc there, as you were saying, Max. It looks like they got an EpiPen because it wasn't allergic to his own team. I think it's a good sign for them, and I think it's a sign of maturity as well, and the realization that, like, we need to qualify now. Like, we need to stop messing around. We need to actually take fights that are sensible, play together, not engage in anything we possibly see around the battlefield, and I kind of like it. It wasn't as impressive as like the 32-point chicken dinner we had on day one, but I think it's a mature chicken dinner out of them.
Oh, definitely. I think they were looking back, Hot Dukes, on the previous game of Brute Force and like, well, that's how you split. Oh, that's pretty good, actually. We'll do some of that. And it worked out, but no, there's definitely a lot more respect coming out from 4MV. They are not taking these big off angles and engaging fight. Wait, Mythic with a revolver?
What? Revolver through the
smoke.
That was so sick.
Oh, okay. Well, what was I saying?
That was cool. Who cares? Okay. Right? That was badass. That was awesome, dude. I mean, Team Liquid did make some noise in this match, but again, not the game that they really desperately need if they want to make it into the finals. When it comes to 4MV, though, remember when I said, guys, I was like, I gave them 5 matches to play Reckless, right? That ended yesterday. I'm glad to see that they finally... Oh, by the way, this before I even get to that, that was ridiculous from Prepod. That buggy was so dang close he could smell the tires, Max.
I don't know how I would feel during that moment, but I would be sweating bullets at that point. But yeah, Trigger discipline. It worked out. He got himself the extra elimination. Sure, he doesn't get really too many placement points off the back of that, but those are the kind of moments where if you wait long enough, you might have the perfect lineup where you can spray, transfer, and get 2, but unfortunately one did get in the buggy and rolled away. But man, I would have taken that shot 30 seconds ago. Like, Max, he was so respectful. Wow.
You would have, if you were in that position, you would have pre-pod yourself for sure.
Yeah,
when that buggy drove right by your head.
That chair was gone.
21 points for 4MV here. Void Donkeys will get themselves 14 and 77. You know, we've been talking about them for such a long time. Max saying like you expect them to get a chicken dinner. 12 points in this last match. It's not enough to quite breach into top 11, but it's a start.
It's definitely a good start. I'm especially happy, Jason, with the elimination front of things. They understood super early. Oh, we had to circle so many times in this PMGC. We're just going to hold the western edge of Severny. Whoever goes in Severny and tries to leave it later on, we're just going to completely obliterate them. They got so many early eliminations off the back of that play alone, Jason, that again shows to me that 77 have a great understanding of this lobby, how they react to circles, and they know how especially to abuse it in their favor to get easy eliminations here and there. So the late game was rough because they're in that dip next to shooting range. Leaving that spot is nigh impossible, especially when 4MV have such an insane split all around them. But it was definitely a good attempt this game to try and get in top 3 and a few eliminations here and there.
But just taking a look at the rest of the match rankings here, I mean, we do see what Team Liquid, like you mentioned, get 11 points. D+ finally getting 9 points as well for themselves. They've been extremely quiet outside those 7 matches, as Max pointed out at the top of the show. And even Regnum Kari getting themselves 6 points.
Yeah, and the big loser on that match was going to be Thunder Talk, right? They ended up with their 0 points right after coming off a solid game. So things are getting interesting, guys. One thing that, you know, I always bring up, because it is very, very important, I think, is, you know, how these teams cannot depend on the last match of the day, right? I mean, there's going to be teams that know they're not going to make it usually, right? But in this stage, it's going to be even worse because teams at the bottom of the leaderboards can still push their way up. 4MV are back in the mix right there. Look how many squads are in running for top 3. I mean, it's pretty much second all the way down to 5th place. When it comes down to 6th, 7th, and 8th, I mean, they need, what, to win almost every game after this if they want a chance. And that's not going to happen.
D+ Q are really pulling a mirror and Sage on. I hate this. Come on. We need to see them make it. What's happening? But yeah, as you said, Hodrix is definitely going to be currently the top 5 teams in the race for top 3. Maybe another team could jump up there, but they're going to need to win literally next match if they want to be in the race for that position. But where we really have to focus our attention here is going to be the second half of the rankings, and 77.
Yeah,
finally make it out of the bottom 5.
Yeah, I think I said earlier, I don't know if it was quite enough to breach top 11. In fact, it was. And by 3 points, as you have Alliance, DRS. I mean, every team below them can still catch up to them. It's just getting very difficult right now for who we can say is going to be top 11. Because honestly, I don't know. It's going to come down to the last match for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal. Like we always say it, Jason, it's going to be down to the last game for the top 3 possibly, and also for the bottom 5, and see who's going to make into survival stage. So again, I'm happy to be here on the desk because I would not want to be these players. It must be rough to go in these games and you're like, it's all down to this match. Like a whole year's worth of work to try and get to PMGC down the drain. That must feel bad, man.
Dude, it's almost like that meme, dude. You see DRS, right? They just finally make it in. It's like, yes, yes. And the last game, back down. No. Hopefully, they can make it to that top 11.
Well, we'll find out what's going to happen in the last half of the day here after a short break.
of course we're gonna change our strategy. And yes, if we take a recap back when we play on the first 2 days, we are struggled by playing fast and center on a center circle. And on the third day, we try to adapt and we try to change this tactic, and it worked for us. We gained the momentum from there. And yes, from today we just gonna bring the momentum, followed by instruction from our coaches, and of course we try to ensure our survival stage.
Awesome. Well, hey, it wouldn't hurt to have another Indonesian team in survival stage. We saw what Void
say it feels like it was weeks ago we last saw Seven do the air guitar on broadcast. But of course, he gets it in the last few strums in the last few seconds. But I can't believe we're into our final 3 matches of our normal group stage here, because we still have survival stage and of course last chance to come up next week. If I'm not mistaken, we also do add on an extra day of play, meaning we're going to be started on Wednesday next week instead of Thursday. But yeah, interesting to hear as well from 4MV. I feel like there was something that wasn't said in the interview though about like, yeah, we talked to Doc and we're like, hey, play with us. And now they're having success. Get in that EpiPen.
His tunnel vision needs to be studied at this point. That first Erangel match really got me concerned because you see him take so many unnecessary 1v1s. His whole team will be right there. If he's just able to slow it down a little bit and play with the squad, I mean, yeah, we can see it happen. And I'm glad it finally is happening right at the right time.
Well, it's also happened at the right time. Our Infinite GT20. What wallpaper do we have today, Maxman?
Let's see. It's top wallpaper time! Oh, let's go! And we build it. Wait, focus. Oh, we turned on.
Nice. No, wait, come back.
There we go. Okay, continue. You may do the segment, Jason. I allow you.
Well, as you can see, Doc also agrees that Infinite GT20 Pro can make you play like a pro with 120 FPS. There you go. You got it like zoomed in perfectly, focused as well. And then we get your face. It just ruins the whole thing. And 144 Hz AMOLED screen. It's okay, Maxman. Maybe one day we'll be able to play like Doc and have a hairline like Doc.
No, I'm not. It's not working out for me.
Both of them actually. It's not that far away from France.
What did I do to you today? Gee, continue the segment, Jason.
We can go together. We can go together. Don't worry.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I'll be your support.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. Just like 4MV today, as they broke through into top 3. I don't know where we're going with this one, to be honest with you guys. But we still have 3 matches left to go. 1 Erangel followed up by 2 Miramar. I mean, the last game of the day, of course, is going to be won by Team Liquid because it always seems to be, you know, done really well by Team Liquid. But I'm curious about what we're going to see here in this final Erangel. Obviously, we've had a lot of northern zones. I'm feeling like a Milta zone in our last Erangel of the group.
I'm feeling we mix it up, bro. Let's go to shooting range.
Wait. Hot shooters, I will fight you. I will fight you. You are not safe. You might be across the Atlantic. I will come for you. Okay?
This is getting crazy.
No more northern circles, please. I've had enough. But no, to take the topic to like a little bit of a realistic note right now. You mentioned it earlier, Hot Jukes, but realistically for top 5 teams are looking the most capable of competing for that top 3 spot. I'm still looking at teams below. I'm looking at your Void Donkey ID. I'm looking at your RCD. I'm looking at your Team Liquid. I'm looking also maybe to some extent to the Vicious and Stalwart. If they want to have a chance, and I really mean a slight chance to make it into top 3, they need to get chicken dinner right now. There is no ifs or buts about it. We need to see a win from one of those teams if they want to have just a single opportunity to go to the grand finals. Otherwise, if they lose now, they just got to make sure to secure their spot for the survival stage, Hot Jukes.
Yeah, you know, it's getting really, really crazy here. So again, I talked to Knight, right? Look at that damage though. Holy goodness, bro. That is ridiculous. 10k damage from Doc. I would be shocked to not see this guy in the finals. I mean, with a performance like this, you know he's going to be just set up for success. And if he plays with this team, he'll have even more damage, right? But I will say this, you know, talking to Knight, I gave him a question, okay? I said, like, let's say you're 10 points away from top 3, right? It's the last game. Would you guys have the grapes to hot drop or try to camp the 3rd place team's rotation, you know? And he says the problem is that, you know, we're good at Miramar in the last 2 maps, and it's not worth hot dropping. But it's if we need to make sure that we're going to get it done, right? We'd rather drop near the team and gatekeep. My question is, right now, dude, with how many points they are far away, it may be even worth considering doing it right now. What do you think, Max?
I don't think they should change their playstyle in Miramar. I think that their approach has been really solid. It's been consistent. Of course, as we saw, they wrapped up almost every day with a win over on Miramar, so they're doing really well on that front. So I would say ruining that with a possible hot drop where you're somewhat taking a 50-50, and even then, if you win the fight, you might still lose players, which your chances of a chicken dinner dwindle so quickly when that happens. So I kind of agree, Hodgets. I need to see a little bit of a different playstyle from, again, the teams I mentioned Team Liquid, Vicious, etc. That they need to really step up big time here. A win is also maybe just not even going to cut it. You need to get a win with a bunch of eliminations. You need to play aggressive. And Team Liquid specifically, their passive middle playstyle that we've seen a few times on Orangle before is just not happening. Maybe sweeping edge would be the way to allow them to be in contention for top 3 spots. So I think that would be a good adaptation for Team Liquid.
See, I don't know. I don't know if you can make plays like this work in the last matches to like breach top 3 just based off the fact that I feel like if you're brute force, you can just start playing a lot safer now. Just play for placements. You don't even need to make these big elimination plays because you're already in the lead by, closing on 30 points. I think you're about 25 points ahead. Actually, probably a little bit less than that. Why do something out of the ordinary, or why be extra aggressive to potentially lose out in a fight that you could potentially be caught up by on these other teams, and especially if you're on like the brink right now, like your influence rate, your Talk, your D+. I feel like they're just going to play a very standard game and hope that others are going to be the ones to mess up, and they don't have to be the ones to make a big play happen to qualify.
I get your point, but for the middling teams, I would say, and I think Hodgix, you might agree with this, it's the worst that could happen for those teams at least is you just go to survival stage. So I think just doing a big play, at least an attempt at a big play, is going to be the correct approach for the Sarangle match.
Yep, but we need to see desperation plays from 6 on down, and brute force, we haven't talked about it, but you saw that they know where everybody's dropping. If they wanted to, they can choose who makes it into the final stage.
No hot
so
drop,
yeah, let's see what they decide to do.
That means we're not going to have one. I said not going to have one. You're good. You're good.
Thank
and
you.
our final
Here we go.
of Group Green. Let's throw it back over to John on a blink to take it.
မင်္ဂလာပါဒါတော့ကျွန်တော်24ကျွန်တော် PMGC ကျွန်တော် list stage ရဲ့
onto
နောက်ဆုံး group ပါနော် group green ရဲ့နောက်ဆုံးရက်ပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ် day 4 ပါ
I was thinking of
ဒီ
Picardo
တော့ဆိုရင်တော့ game number 4နောက်ဆုံး event ကြီးရောက်လာပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျ
all
ဒီ
16
event ကြီးစုံတွေကတော့ပုံမှန်တိုင်းကျွန်တော်ကဘတ်တပွဲပေးရ
It
ယ်
would be helpful if Picardo was even on.
Yeah, should have been my way be able to wear up a way made to see out of me. If you be no.
Yeah, they just doesn't exist here. But Shinky would have been a good one. I'd also enjoy a military base. Maybe even a Stauber fighting in the ruins. Come on. That would have been good fun. But yes, hot drops. Maybe no. Maybe yes. But I'm leaning no.
Yeah, I also see this and
generally what we've seen.
If we look at this lobby,
where
people are sat in the leaderboards, hot dropping is
base.
it's not a case of we can guard someone out from taking this over. It's a case of either we give someone a survival stage slot or we go home. That is the risk you're taking. Probably not.
And this is the thing, right? It's like the reason that you would try and get someone out is because you don't want to face strong teams. This is PMGC. You're facing strong teams in finals. No matter what. Sure, you've got experience, things like that, but the other teams could be watching these and is guarding out specific team and not wanting a specific team in the finals, I feel like is kind of a weak reasoning to go for a hot drop. If you want to, I think at any point it's kind of just, I'm a big no. I'm a big no right now on hot drops.
ခုနကကျွန်တော် game 3မှာတော့ phone က chicken တပွဲနဲ့ပဲ shed 3ကိုတော့ပြန်တက်လာတာပဲဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျာကဲလိုအပ်နေတာတော့နောက်ထပ်3ပွဲနောက်ထပ်2ပွဲပဲကျန်မီယာက2ပွဲပဲကျန်တော့မယ်ဟုတ်လားကျွန်တော်ထီထီတဲ့ကျွန်တော် phone ကြီးကတော့တမတ်ပဲကွာတယ်ဒီတပွဲမှာဆိုတယ်ဟို shed 3ကတော့ဘယ်လိုဖြစ်မလဲဆိုတော့ run 2 3 4 5 oh my god ဒီအသင်းတွေကတော့တကယ်ကိုတော့
Right now, they're huge. Staggering elimination. And some crazy stuff.
Yeah, 23 as well, 32%. Those eliminations, but they are just the pincers. The full crab and comprises all 4 players. So they need to be given credit. Has been phenomenal. They've had 3 good games on the trot. Was the hoops pound. A little bit in the distance, but it's achievable here.
Indonesia or Vietnam who also few games, entirely possible. The fact they're in 6th place, chasing one of the top 5, it's wild to me. They're in that situation now, though, where they're no longer jumping up over teams after a single game. Which has been the case, it was a case of 7th place. Placings throughout the day already. It would require D+ they have been slowly clawing away at that lead. They're only brute force sending far ahead of everyone else at 181 points. Still incredibly close. 149 to 156. There is a 7-point differential between 5th and 2nd place. It's all still for grabs. It's likely you're going to be where one of the top 5 starts to break away once again to 2nd place, and then we're really just battling out for 3rd, sorry.
It's really close. I do want to highlight something as well. D+ Kia have yet to double the scoreline from day 1. They started day 1 at 75 points, double that, 150. They're on 149. So are they finally going to be able to double that total into today's games? Again, last time around, just were a little bit too timid and couldn't quite get it done on that eastern side, and it's just a continual story for D+ Kia. They've been able to extract a couple of cheekier limbs here and there, but overall, I feel like it's more between Thunder Talk and 4MV and Influence Rage as to who's going to get those 2 of the 3 spots.
Yeah, sentiment as well, because I think D+ essentially what they've been doing over the past 3 days has been existing at the top, remaining towards the top as best as they can, which is not an ideal scenario, but in terms of securing a position towards survival stage, they're very safe. It's just, it must be very frustrating for them knowing that they're so close, but no matter what they do, they just cannot get over towards into that top 3 once again, and have just slowly slipped out of it. Again, Nobu, that last game, I think it was a very good play from him, not only in the moment but for the rest of the team. Someone had to pull the trigger, right? Someone had to pull the trigger on that engagement, and I'm glad it was Nobu, because Osal, who has been the one who's been doing incredible damage, incredible eliminations, but even he has faded away in the team at this point in time, and Nobu's like, look, we've got to get something done. I'm crashing this. Feel free to follow. For Void Donkey, I think at this stage they have done enough. It was one hell of a plow for them to get as much as they did in those first 3 matches. But now you go into match 4, match 5, and match 6. I think you can be happy with a survival stage, considering where you come from. Now is not the time to be making mistakes and allowing teams to get ahead of you and knock you out. As much as that would be unlikely at this stage, I think the idea is just to profit 5 or 6 points per game, and that'll see you very safe and get to live another day. If they can push it further, fair play, but I do think that now is the time, because they have been taking risks. They were taking risks in a lot of their games, and getting through with just mechanical skill. I think now is the time where they can be like, we can play a bit more safe, which is what they're doing at the moment. They're playing off towards that western side. They're taking their time moving into the circle, and I think they're just looking for profit on these games.
See how much of that they can achieve and tuck away into the back pocket. Always nice to have. the teams beneath them will continue to scrabble around for that 11th place bubble. There is that small margin that starts to open itself as well. You've got 9th place and 10th place on 107, then a 10-point drop-off to 11th on 97, and then it goes 94, 91. So it's really quite close, and it goes 86 at the bottom of the tables in 16. So any of those bottom 6 could really change around. 9th and 10th, a little bit more safe, but still not out of it. I mean, to be honest, it's still not entirely secure for Point Donkey. Talking about with playing a little bit more safe, getting 4 points a match or something like that. Would see you say Team Liquid as well. It's not entirely safe for them, but it's highly unlikely that multiple teams can do enough to jump up and over them. So a lot more secure there. It's really those bottom 6 that I'm looking at as being incredibly volatile.
Yeah, 77 just about breaking into the top 11.
Okay, sageပုံမှန်တိုင်းလေပဲပြန်ပြီးတာပေါ့နော်တင်အားလုံးတော့ကျွန်တော်နေရာ position အားလုံးရတာဒါပေမဲ့ prison က high ground ဘက်ကတော့တော်တော်လေးကိုနေရာလွတ်နေတယ်လို့ပြောလို့ရတယ် 4M ကိုဝင်လာရင်တော့ quite လေးလို့တော့အဲ့ချမ်းတော့ Steve တင်းတော့ရှိနေတယ်တော့ဒီအားဆိုတော့ miss ကဝင်ထိုးတာမျိုးတော့လုံးဝမလုပ်ထားဘူးကျွန်တော်ဒီရဲ့မိုင်တာနားမှာပဲအကုန်လုံးပြန်ပြီးထိန်းပြီးတော့ဆော့နေလို့ပဲပြောပြ 4M ကိုဝင်မဲ့လမ်းကြောင်းလေးကတော့တော်တော်လေး
so far
ရင်းတူရတိုးလို့မကောင်းဘူးเนาะဆိုတော့တိုးလို့မရဘူးကျွန်တော်ဖြည်းဖြည်းလေးပဲဆော့ရပိုကောင်းတယ်ဗျဒီမှာဆို shutter ထဲမှာဆိုရင်တော့ကျွန်တော်မလေးတင်းနေစပြီးတုံနေပြီဒီမှာတင်း liquid နဲ့ကျွန်တော်77တော့ဘာလို့သိလဲအကုန်လုံးပြတ်သွားပြီเนาะ77နေ0 point တော့ကျွန်တော်77ကလက်ရှိကျွန်တော် point က98မှတ်နဲ့ run 11ကတည်းကဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဆိုတော့ save မဖြစ်တော့ပါဘူးဒီပွဲမှာ77ကကုန်းသွားပြီဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီရဲ့မလေးအတင်းအတွက်ကတော့တကယ်အခွင့်အရေးဖြစ်သွားပြီဗျာ DRS တို့အတွက်လေလူရတော့မယ်
Again, it's what I was saying about just before is they are not playing to a PMGC standard. And it felt like they did not hear me and we're just like we're going to continue doing exactly what we're playing like right now, which is aggressive.
Probably saw my bro, not the same as
little to no combat. When you crash into Team Liquid, you know there's going to be a team there, and even so, not even taking a single knock onto Team Liquid. It's a very bad scenario to be in. So I'm not happy to see it. I think that unless they can get things back together come Miramar, it might just be over.
လက်ချောင်းရောက်သွားတဲ့16တင်လောက်ပါလေနေ့ရက်ပဲဆော့နေ့ရက်ဆော့ပြီးတော့ top 1 to 6 က final တက်အဲ့ဒါပြီးသွား
away from it.
အဲ့ဆိုအခုက final မှာဒီ group ကလည်း3တင်တက်ဆိုရင်အားလုံး total 10တင်ဖြစ်သွားတယ် ဟုတ်တယ်ပဲကြံ
What's the performance
အဲ့6ချင်းကအဲ့ဒီလက်ချောင်းတက်လာတဲ့6တင်
those extra
ဆော့စင်းနဲ့တက်လာတဲ့6တင်
themselves over the top. They've had
the
two
final
chicken dinners so far.
စင်းပြေသွားပြီဟုတ်တယ်လေပြေ
Both
သွား
of
ပြီ
them
ဆို
have
ရင်
been a
final
little
ကျ
bit
တော့
quieter than a lot of the other
ဒီမှာကျွန်တော်ထက်ချရတော့မှဖြစ်ပါတယ်အချိန်ကြာမှတကယ်ခန်းခန်းနားနားကြည့်ရမှာပါအဲ့လို
They can survive for
အချိန်ကတော့မလေးမှာဆော့ရဲ offline private ပုံစံပါပဲအလောက်ပါပဲ private ပါပဲ rate တွေမပါဘူးเนาะဒီ list state တွေ
Influence rage.
sorry final ကြိုင်တော့
on that north side.
အခဏနာကြည့်ရမှာပါဟုတ်ဒီနှစ်ကကြည့်ရဘယ်လောက်ဒီလောက်ပြမလဲနှစ်ကတော့ mic မနေ့ကလည်း mic
D plus over towards their west with brute force coming in behind them, so a real difficult northwest side. The strength of the teams, Influence Rage, D plus and brute force all playing in that area. A lot of our teams that are looking to climb have headed down towards that south side with 4MV as well as Thunder Talks.
Yellow round we saw my yellow, red, yellow, green, yellow, green.
Look at a push.
Round we saw my
up. Secret and stalwart, both around that prison area. Circle.
It's like a 3 to high ground of Yamastero, so the landing patch I'm not go mountain and patty
in the middle.
What can they do with this?
This is their game. They have made some good rotations in the past. They've got some circles where they're a little bit over towards the edge. But this is one of the circles where you completely dominate from if you have central at the start here. So they regroup, get towards a good position, they control the northwest side where it's good. Yeah, I want to see a big game like D+, because this could be something that secures them towards that top 3 easily.
Okay. Party နဲ့ကျွန်တော် position တွေထပ်ပြီးတော့ဖြန့်ဖို့တော့ live စစ်တာတော့ကျွန်တော်ပတ်လည်းဘယ်အဖြစ်လို့ပြမမသိတော့ social ခတ်နေတဲ့ကျွန်တော်ဒီ background တွေ land ပေါ်မှာတွေကဟိုဘာမှမသိတဲ့နားလေးကိုတော့အရင်ဆိုတော့သွားတော့မကောင်းသေးဘူးပြောရင်းနဲ့ပဲတယောက်မှမတော့ဘူး
will pick up the first elimination now.
No, I ပြောတော့မရှိသေးဘူးเนาะဒါကတော့မလေးအသင်း နောက်လည်းကပ်ပြီးတော့ပါလာလို့ပဲပြောတယ်
moves out to the high ground on the southeast of them. Voindong
Yeah,
moves
yeah,
into the
yeah.
garage and they will be playing on with 3
Zumba
from
they
there.
do when I never
Very
can
powerful
party
area
there.
for them to hold. Celcom Digi Alliance, they are on the south side of this one, but down in the
တော့ဒီ
bunker.
နေ့ TT နေတယောက်တော့စာပြီးပေးလိုက်ရတယ်လို့ပဲပြောမယ်ဗျ straight
Playing
3
from the mouth of it. No
အင်းနေနဲ့
competition for
15
them
သင်း
in
လုံး
this
ကျန်
area,
နေ
but
တယ်
teams around the side may look to try and peek out their way. Team Liquid, they held out the crash from 77,
So
they
the
got 4
RQ.
points for it. And they're now
အဲ့
ahead
တော့
of
ဝင်လာ
Voindong.
straight 3
Yeah,
မှာ
they've
တော့
got
အ
one
နောက်
scoring,
ကြာနေပြီလို့တော့ပြောလို့ရတယ်ဗျ
which is good news
ရှိပါ
for
တော့
them.
ကျွန်တော်
RRQ
PMGC
making their way out
man.
on the west edge, close to
ကျွန်တော်ဝင်ချမလို့ကြည့်ရမှာဗျ
Saka.
အဲ့လောက်တယ်ကောနော်တော်တော် rush 15မှာတော့တင်တူးနေတူးကျုံးကျင်နေတဲ့စိတ်ရှိရဲဆိုတဲ့အတိုင်းပဲဟိုကျွန်တော် INS မှာဆိုကျွန်တော်အင်ဒိုနီးရှားအသင်းလိုပဲတူတူပဲပေါ့နော်ဒီကောင်တွေကဒီကြီးတဲ့အချိန်ကျမှဝူရှူဝါတွေရှောက်ပစ်တော့မှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဗျဆိုတော့ဟုတ်ပါတယ်ကျွန်တော်ဒီဒီလိုအဲ့တိုင်းပါပဲဟိုပလိန်ဝင်ချတော့နိုင်ဝါရောပေါ့နော်
It goes poorly once
Bro,
again.
Joe,
CAG
two
falls
point.
further
Yeah,
and
now it's all
further
shit, right?
down
No, CAG,
towards the bottom of the tables. They have been
CAG
tumbling
က
all
separate
the
လောက်
way
ထားတာပါ
down
တူတူ
throughout
ခွဲရတာ
today.
နည်းနည်းပြဿ
And
နာ
it
တက်
has
သွား
been these aggressive,
Yeah, we
weird plays becoming
Oh,
from
the man,
CAG Osaka. I'm not sure they entirely understand what some of these rotates are doing for them. At the moment, they have an idea in their head, but a lot of that second, third step down the line is just not
နိုင်ကျွန်တော်
quite
အင်ဒိုနီး
thought
ရှား
out
ဖီး
yet.
တက်သွားပြီ
And
ကျွန်တော်
I
ဂျူ
don't
က
know,
ဖီး
man.
တက်သွားပြီ
It's
ဆိုတော့
been
လိုက်ပြတော့မှဒီ
unfortunate
ပွဲ
'cause I enjoyed the way CAG Osaka was playing towards the beginning.
တော့
Dot
ဆိုရမယ်
versus
ထပ်ပြီးတော့
Influence
တိုက်လာပြန်
Rage.
IF
Immediately
တိုက်မဲ့
goes
တိုက်တော့
down the
run
route,
run 2
back
က run ဘလောက် run 2ကအတင်း
The rest of
ဆိုတော့
4MB
ကျွန်တော်
just
4M
coming
ပြီးတော့ Arlie Band
trips and
Stage 3
traps.
မှာတော့ဒီလို
And
အတင်း
the
မျိုးနဲ့
third
ratio
place
ပြီး
spot
ပတ်တဲ့
is
ဆိုင်လိုက်တာတော့
falling.
ကျွန်တော်
It's tumbling
တော
down
င်းဝိုင်း
and
လို့တော့ပြော
4MB
လို့ရ
are
ပါတယ်ဗျဒီ
eliminated.
နေ့မှာဆိုရင်တော့
Influence
တင်းလုံး
Rage
တော့
get 4
0
points
point
as
နဲ့
well.
တော့ကျွန်တော် 4M ပြီး
What
တော့ဒီ
just
ပွဲတော့တူး
happened?
ဆုံးသွားပြီ
I
ပဲ
mean,
ဖြစ်
that
ပါတ
was
ယ်
a messy
Oh
roll
my
up for
God.
4MV. If you're going to go for it,
ပွဲမီ
go
ခဏ
for
ပွဲ
it.
check
But
ကန်ဒီ
again,
ပွဲ
Dot
0
goes
point
in
ဆိုတော့
on his own,
system မဖြစ်ဘူး
and
ပေါ့
they
နော်
get punished.
ဒီမှာဆိုလဲကျွန်တော် IF ကျွန်တော် little boy လို့အကုန်လုံးတယောက်ပြီးတယောက်ကျွန်တော်ဘယ်သူမှမပါဘောကောင်ပေါ့ AC တစ်ဖက်လုံးနိုင်ပါလို့ပြောမယ်ထပ်ပြီးတော့ zone လေးပါရတာတည်းရဲ့ကျွန်တော် IF တင်နေတဲ့ဒီကောင်မောင်းနဲ့ပြန်ပြီးတစ်ဖက်လုံးခွင့်ရတာတည်းလို့ team secret ကလုံးဝအနည်းဆုံးပဲဖြစ်ပါတော့
Yeah,
ဆိုတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒီပွဲကကျွန်တော်ကိုရီးယားတင်း TK အတွက်ကတော့ zone ကန်တော့တကယ်ကိုကောင်းနေသလိုကျွန်တော် TT ကတော့အသေးတန်ပဲကျွန်တော်ကြားထဲတော့ဖြတ်တော့မောင်းဝင်လာပြီပဲတဲ့ဟိုပဲဆုံးသက်သွားမလဲပဲကျွန်တော်ကြည့်ရတော့မယ်ဒီဒီမှာလည်း CAG ကျွန်တော်ဒီဂျပန်အသင်းနဲ့ကပ်ပြီးတော့လိုက်လာလို့ဒီနားလေးမှာရက်မယ်ဆိုရင်အန်တီများတယ်လို့ပြောရင်းနဲ့ပဲအေးမကြောက်မရွံ့ငါတို့ကင်းတကောင်လာထပ်ပြီးတော့ scout နေတော့မယ်ဗျ Do it. Bro, King. ရဲတိုင်းပဲတိုက်လို့ရေထားမထားဘူးတောက်လျှောက်ပဲတဲပဲလမ်းတိုင်းပဲလုံးဝမြန်မာလိုကြီးပါ scout နေရပဲဖြစ်ပါဗျတော့ရတာတီးရဲ့ဒီဘက် ground တွေမှာဆိုရင်လည်းဒီဘက်ကျွန်တော် TT အနေနဲ့စုံဝင်တာတွေဒီနေ့ကတကယ် aggressive တော်ကြီးကိုဖြစ်နေတယ်ရှေ့ကြီးအောင်ရှေ့ Yeah, Jeff.
I feel like that's only going to go one of one ways. Influence Rage chime in for a little point steal from
ရ
Lord.
မြဲမသိခုနကပျောက်သွားလေးအောင်လို့
Influence Rage starting to get a big points tally.
Hello, we're calm on the bell.
Kia still have a strong spot to play in, but not
Okay.
garnering a lot
Oh,
of
this
value
secret in
out
the
this
command
match
was
so
3.
far.
As a 4
Stalwart
to
was the
Steam
fight
and beyond
against
the
Team
final
Secret
level.
is over towards the
Steam in
northeast
it.
side, the high
Lady,
ground
the
to the
Tama
west
Yara,
of Mansion.
That's not the way.
Nades have been sent down, but slightly lukewarm. But the high ground advantage is certainly in the favour of Team Secret.
Need the long quatty way.
Got Stalwart penned in on this ridge side now.
PF ကလည်းတယောက်နောက်တိုင်း
No real way to move
And then
around to the
along.
south side
Oh,
for
Lord,
the
I thought you
Stalwart.
were
There's
doing
off
it,
angles
and
that
they
can
did.
start to look for those shots.
ဆိုတော့ကျွန်
So
တော်
they
overview ကနေပြီးတော့ပြန်ပြီးတော့ပြီးမယ် info တွေလိုအပ်နေသေးတယ်ကျွန်တော် secret
Third party's not coming through. RRQ could potentially roll up from the far
အော်
northwest.
နောက်
if
နေ
they
ပြန်ပြီး
get
ပတ်
past
ပြီးဖို့
Influence
ကြိုးစားတူပဲ
Rage.
not တော့မယ်ကျွန်တော် break တော့ပြန်ပြီးတော့ better အဲ့တော့လွတ်သွားတယ်ပြောတယ် ST တကောင် fail လောက်ကိုတော့စပြီးတော့ not ပေးလိုက်နောက်တော့ကောင်မှထပ်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော် not သွားလို့ကျွန်တော်ဒီဘက်ချမ်းမှာတော့ secret တွေကတော့လုံးဝ aggressive ပဲစပြီး push လိုက်ပြီဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဆိုတော့ ST ဒီနားမှာတော့ပြန်တော့ defend လုပ်ဖို့အတွက်တော့တယောက်မှတော့ပြန်ပြီးမ not ချနိုင်သေးဘူးလားဆိုတော့ not သွားပြီဒါပေမဲ့တို့လည်းတော့တယောက်ပဲကျန်တော့မယ်တယောက်လည်းတော့ make ကစားပေးကြမယ်ဗျဆိုတော့ secret နောက်နေ back က
regroup forwards.
In the meantime, RQ decimates
Bye, Marley.
brute
Come on,
force
yellow.
on the western
Okay,
side.
okay.
Very slow fight coming through from Team Secret
Oh,
versus
Nate, no,
Stalwart.
Nate,
They have held their ground. And now Nate's going over the top. That one's a decent one over towards
well,
Break.
Nate,
Goes
yeah.
slightly far. Critter
Secret
will
that
look to
Nate
finish
will
off one of the
calm.
players from Team Secret, who's passing back a lot of information. Fearless. Still knocked, hasn't been quite rezzed up just
Well,
yet.
probably
A
get a
nice
Nate.
spray down from Critter.
Very
Break
good.
Peeks out for far
Very
too
good.
long.
Very
Now
good.
just
It's
Jike
Secret.
who
Bye
is
bye.
left alive for Team
Whoa.
Secret as Stalwart
Oh,
attempts to
Dana.
take control of a really nice bit of high ground.
with the one now needs to cut through the rest of them. Stalwart with 3 players bearing down upon him, and it is too much for him to handle. Stalwart able to get 4 elims from down the hill. There was a massive high ground advantage for Team Secret. That was their opportunity to launch themselves from the bottom of the tables, and they've thrown it away.
Team Liquid up against Cellcom Digi Alliance, and you're right. For Team Secret, that was a big chance for them. All in all, well played. Stalwart, realistically, hard position to play from. Team Liquid up to 5 eliminations off the initial crazy rotate in coming through from 77. Now looking to put that points total up even more. Oh, it's Team Liquid going for a top 3.
All right. Okay. They're a very far way away. And they are out of the circle as well. Pretty far from that 1-2. D plus Kia maintain that 2-2 split, but they're in that edge of the circle. They can control RRQ, DRS, RCB decently, but Fabian doesn't want to take the heat there. Folds back. In the meantime, Team Liquid are still pushing through on the mansion. Olio not going to have that nade sent his way. It goes long, past the angle.
Oh, what do you know?
The G Alliance around the walls. Gonna take shots from the off angle. That's RCB from the west side. Who have YouTube but there's that pickup. It's Thunder Talk actually picking up that point, and Blank that shifts the table. Into 3rd place.
Back again. Incredibly messy fight right now for Team Liquid, unable to get into Mansion itself. Very much struggling here.
Oh no!
Museum, sorry.
What a big nade coming around the corner from Leon. Just takes down 3 of Liquid, all on his Todd. And now the last player on the inside, wondering where his teammates have gone. Cellcom Digi Alliance with 2. They've turned this fight topsy-turvy. And Team Liquid, they're for the top 3. Cut short here. Cellcom Digi Alliance. This is good news, though. They're looking to defend their spot, the bubble, on the 11th place, but they lose 1 more. And Cardoza now just has Leons to deal with. There's that third-party angle, and it's RCB through the door frame to find the lick at the back. Is that the Vicious? I think it might have been. Everybody knows this fight's happening.
Yeah, the Vicious taking shots over this way.
Yeah, 100%.
Elims though, it's not bad. Now they need to show that prowess over on Miramar they were talking about earlier. The Vicious have been holding this out for a while. Now RCB head on in. Nades go down towards Dimonor, and already lovely shot over towards Bruno's in.
Looking for more points to pick up here. RCB want to solidify themselves, at least into those survival stages. Nades over the top. Want that flush on the Bruno's in. And that bounce is going to take a little bit more damage away from it. Make it harder and harder. That one should do the job and gets the knock on the Reyes too. The long bouncing nades off the backline doesn't quite catch Dimonor. He might be able to res Reyes, but not anymore, because they just keep on rolling in. And Loxy now moves forwards. Onto RCB's position. Maybe get a couple of shots through. Loxy though, with the rundown. Ching finds the knock. It will be the flush going over their way though.
Yeah, good stuff. In the meantime, it's DRS example finding a shot over towards Fabian and another over towards Osal. Oh dear me. For D+, this could have been a big game for them. They go for a split on the circle and a 2-2. A game that should have been in the bag for them.
RRQ's oppression from this northern side has been too much. They tried to hold too much. And they went for it for too long. Now, from the back, it needs to be something miraculous from the duo from D plus Kia. They have managed to finally double their points tally blank. They're up to 150 from that day 1, that is, over the next 3 days. But it is starting to wane here. They're 2 players. They've got to find something special. Luckily, the circle gives them a little bit of hope here. They will stay on the edge.
Just try to hold too much space. I mean, they know that DRS is down towards the south side. This is a very obvious crossing for a lot of teams that where RRQs come from. And I think that you could have potentially just held a much stronger spot towards that north side, given up position over in this compound to eliminate RRQ and get more points on the north edge. Yeah, it's a weird one coming through from D+. I don't think at stage 5, stage 6, you should be really holding a 2-2 split anymore. did not help them at all. Now RQ flying in over towards D+. And
you are
well, Chips, you have a big task.
We are shotgunny, no? Hey, come on here, Tora.
They got the firepower. Let's see if they bring it to bear. Rage looking at third party this crash, and that makes RQ's job a lot harder. Means Fnatic can no longer escape and is locked into this fight. Needs to step into the lobby.
I have a join with something.
Influence Rage divert. They're heading back out to the side. They're waiting for the opportune moment. Allow RRQ to fully bolster their presence here. Maybe contest for that ridgeline. There's a lot of fights going on, and this might be good for D+ Kia, but that nade in from Asar is going to find Chips. The knock is there. Nolbu needs the flush. But there's the nade. That will seal the deal. D+ Kia out for another time. Blank.
Okay, so I have like when I'm not just cheer on the DS card. Leo on the champion. I'm me. On shit 3 la 2 la 2 yard and nigga Dinama.
It's just odd, man. I don't understand why you'd break out from Alamo. Playing Alamo as more of an off angle, maybe on the ridge side to scout towards the north, would have been the ideal scenario there for them. It's a weird play. It's a really weird play, and it's not the weird to say this. It's not the done way to play Alamo. I think that position has been such a strong spot throughout the years. Teams should understand how to play that position. And something actually really help them in the long run. I think having an anchor on Alamo and sending off towards the eastern side of vehicles is an easy prospect. Boing Donkey. With 2 players still alive, still pushing the boundaries ever further in terms of point scoring. Only 1 elimination, but potential at more points in terms of placement.
In comes Stalwart, and down they go as well. Sanchez now trying to make that move. And Influence Rage moving around the sidelines up to the rock. Sanchez there, and finally he's able to take down Donkey. But the damage has been done, and now Influence Rage want to add more points to their tally. The nade's blasting the vehicles out the way, searching for the scrabbling players of Stalwart. The nades over the back line there. Devilish, a devious Stalwart will not be able to solve the problem. Influence Rage, 8 eliminations now, and Brute Force do have to start to worry.
No, I mean, Influence Rage definitely catching up, and with huge strength in the lobby now, with an incredible amount of loot being able to be gambled here, which is going to really send their tally in terms of utility sky high. They'll have a very strong push towards the end game. And again, you look at RQ, you see how safe they are now, but why did D+ stay in there? Doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Still pulling out players.
RCB တောရှောက်လိုက်ပြီးတော့ကျွန်တော်ဒါပေမဲ့ဘေးနဲ့ဆိုလုံးဝကောင်းတော့ထောင်လို့မရဘူးเนาะဒီနားမှာဆိုရင်တော့တက်လာပြီနေလာထဲကြီးပြီးသွားပြီ
RCB get that circle shift as well. If they can isolate Thundertalk and get rid of them, they have such a strong spot on this side of the road. There's a long sloping hill which keeps them covered. The buildings will be taken out of it, which means there's no rooftops to try and hop around on and get those high ground angles. That western point as well, that ridge that goes up towards the west. Winning this one.
ဆိုတော့ TF4 တွေကကျွန်တော်ကောင်းတဲ့အရင်ကြည့်ရခဲ့တဲ့နေရာတွေပေါ့နော်ဆိုတော့ဒီကောင်က
very meaningful in terms of positioning and Influence Rage if they wanted to head over this road and start taking shots towards them, smoking out their approach as well. Could be a simple tactic for them going forward. DRS still on a very strong approach, and with 2 loot crates in front of them, should be able to get some nice loot from those as well. Either P90 or just even a little 3 vest or 3 helmet that comes in those bad boys. That will be useful for the end game. RQ trying to disengage from the Alamo, but with not enough players, it's been more of a survival attempt for them. Finally, Influence Rage will put them down and look for challenge them. Leaderboard pitching in 2 or 3 elims apiece, but Lorizon and Lord to Diego Leaderboard. This has been a great game. And a great display of teamwork.
Imagine stop. I have such a low. See RCB 7 လုံးရှိနေ DRS 9လုံး DD 5လုံးကျန်
Influence Rage, they have a little bit better of a position at the moment, but Influence Rage needs to take shots at the forward breakout for DRS. They can't quite find this. A tough time here, but if there's a team that can do it, it's our second place squad right now looking to change that one up and step to the higher landing on the podium.
change their fate here. And again, I was saying this earlier on, that one team eventually would break out from that top 3, and then it would be a battle for 3rd place. Lovely nade over the top there from Silas. A surprise that didn't fully finish out the entirety of Shing, but one more will do the trick. On that side. Yeah, influence rates looking more and more likely that they're securing their 2nd place here. And will be only one spot available into the future between 4MV, Thunder Talks, and D+.
ဒီမှာတော့ night တွေနဲ့ထုနေပြန်ပြီ။ကြည့်ရတဲ့ကောင်နဲ့အခုနေ့ကလူတွေလုံနေ night တွေပြင်ပွဲတဲ့ကောင်တွေဆိုနားတွေပါဦးနေမလားမသိဘူး
over towards influence rage with a little bit more impunity here.
The wild sits on.
He can start to look for those shots, look for that
angle.
Influence rage going to have to push up and over towards the RCB side of the road. There are no two ways about it. DRS could potentially get a 2nd place off this, but I think even with 3 players, this should still by right be RCB.
I think that the EC charger ECC charger
they're holding on to is going to be the big deal going forward. But you're right, DRS having access on towards this RCB2. In comes one good shot from Lil Boy will find Yante, and that might open the door for them. This has been instantaneous.
Why so easy? Why so easy?
Silas trying to break out that getting
out. RCB ငြိမ်နေတာတော့တကယ်ကောင်းသွားမယ်နားလေးမှရဟိုကောင်လေးကြိုင်ထဲမှာတော့3ယောက်လောက်ကြောင်ပိတ်နေပြီ။ဘာလုပ်မလဲဆိုတော့ကြည့်အောင်သူတို့လည်းလုပ်ပေးတယ်နော်။
Diego
trying to hold down.ပြီးသွားပြီရောင်ရေးသူတွေကြီးတင်းနေ
but it's just not going their way. Wild over the top. Law is still there.
ဖုန်ချတာ
crossfire.
Oh!
Nice. Law falls. The slur of HP on the top.
The comment is 2+1 PYV.
Silas is there. They know he's on this angle and in from the smoke. They're looking for these shots, but it's not going to work out. They cannot cross the road. RCB hold on. Influence rate shakes the top spot. RCB tries to back down.
Absolutely. I mean, that could have been really bad for Brute Force, sending them down towards 2nd place, and then maybe someone catches up on that side. But Silas, what a player from that squad. I mean, he is absolutely keeping the team in check so many times. That cross in the vehicle was so incredibly dangerous with the cold comms because they realized DRS has just been sat down in the most disgraceful manner on that side. And Silas knows that, look, if we don't get an advantage, we do it a position on the other side of the circle, it's all over for us.
Hot Jukes, come on. You don't need me to be the intro here.
Oh, our
ဒီကောင်နဲ့ကြီးစံမကောက်ကြောက်လာတယ် Nick only ပဲလာတယ်ထုလိုက်တယ်နေဦးတယ်ဒီတပွဲလုံးဆို Oh my god ပြက်လိုက်တော့မိုးပေါ်နဲ့ကြာလာတာအကုန်လုံးဘုံစုံကြာနေရပဲကြီးရတယ်ဒီမချမ်းသာလိုက်တာ
I think it's a battle for only one spot left in the top 3.
I thought it was only going to be 2 spots, but no, with the game influence got, it's only 1 spot for the final stage.
And it could have been 4MV actually to be the one to potentially get a lot of these points, and we'll obviously hit on that in a little bit of time, but Regnum Kari getting themselves the 10 eliminations, the 20 points on the game, and putting them into contention here for top 3. I mean, I'm kind of curious to see how it's going to play out when we do get to our overalls. And as you said before, Hot Jukes, if any of these teams who are below 5th place want to have a chance to break top 3, well, they have to start popping off. And well, Red and Karia, the job's not done yet. You get yourself in reach, but you have to bring it home.
Need another chicken dinner. Need to win this next game for sure, because the last game is going to get so dang sketchy. So I think when we saw the win, you could see Silas like talking to his team. He's like, all right, guys, like we still got a lot of work to do. You know, he's like, we're there now. We're definitely there. Unfortunately for Team Liquid, it's the nail in the coffin at this point. It's just not gonna. Yeah, I know that they're the best in Miramar so far, but it just can't happen.
I really have to echo the point of Blank during that game too, which is Silas was so impactful in that finishing moment. Sending it across the road was super risky. I was like, oh man, I thought he was going to get knocked. The fact is that the other players of RCB were keeping tabs on the other players, keeping them in check on influence, and it really stopped them from taking as many shots as they really would have liked to on Silas as he was going wide for the off angle. And it really just gave them so much more control on that lobby. So sure, the elims go the way of Kimiz, especially Kimiz, by the way, Jason, he was just doing so good with that utility. His nades were on point over on that ridge. But Silas definitely is the one calling the shots here. And I got to say, I said it yesterday too, RCB's macro is amongst the best in this group. And it's really being highlighted on this final day.
Okay, bold statement coming through, but you can't really argue with the results as we are seeing RCB slowly climb themselves up on the leaderboards here. In a brute force, they won it relatively early in this game. Influence Rage probably going to be able to.
Don't damage 錢入唔得。Oh my god.
Though surprised that Wild in like that final skirmish didn't get more from that angle, considering I mean he had like the entire Influence Rage focused on him. I was actually thinking RCB might lose this match, to be honest.
It was close. It was definitely a close one for sure. But yeah, those nades from Influence Rage. Oh my gosh, dropped a red zone there on the stalwart. That was crazy, man. But yeah, I mean, it definitely could have gone in either direction. I think that off angle from Silas, though, proved just to be too strong. But yeah, Wild, even though he had that hilltop, wasn't able to really perform, I think, the way he wanted to, but it was enough to just hold and just hold those teams down, you know, so Silas can to finish it off. It was perfectly executed, man. I mean, look at that, 20 points, Influence Rage get 20. It's going to be a battle even for first place. This is fun. This group here is close pretty much all the way down the board.
And we know with the teams competing currently for top 3, the fact that Regnum Karabra not only win this game with 10 eliminations, the fact they eliminate their direct competition in Thunder Talk that's competing for that, maybe that final slot for top 3 is so damn important. So maybe they knew, like, oh yeah, that's Thunder Talk. We need to completely eradicate that team off of the surface of Erangel, and it worked out great with those Silas nades. I think he got a double nade elimination at the end. So yeah, again, I think Regnum Karabra have a really good grasp on what to do, how to execute the game plan in these matches to secure spot in top 3, and so far it's going as planned.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
go ahead.
We can finally bring this up now, and at home I hope you are prepared. Maybe turn the volume down just a little bit because there's going to be some anger coming through. 4MV 0 points.
What? Oh boy, 4MV. 4MV, right? Let's go ahead and do a beautiful wide wrap, you know, up on the north side, and let's go and make the big push onto the team that we gotta take out. Influence Rage. Let's go, and then dead, just gone instantly, Max. What the heck happened?
The thing is, I don't even hate the rotate, but it's again down to timing, which I think is an aspect of the game that 4MV are struggling to really grasp properly this PMGC. Literally, sure, if you want to send it one by one, I don't think it's great, but if that's what you want to do, hey, no, whatever, cool, whatever. But Doc instantly gets in fighting mode. He does not wait for his teammate, and that wounds them so much at the end. 5 seconds more, maybe could have got back up from his team, but here, as we see, this game unfortunately pushes them out of the top 3 as Thunder Talk reclaim a spot to make in the grand finals.
Not sure if you could hear that. Even my dog Oliver is getting frustrated, throwing a couple barks our way. Yeah, I mean, Brute Force, Influence Rage, they're pretty much set in stone to be able to get through to the grand finals. It's all about Thunder Talk, 4MV, D+, RCB, even potentially Team Liquid. I'm going to count them out in my eyes of having a chance. And technically, I'd even count out RCB unless they have another big game here. But to have 3 big games back to back, because they need to have good results in these next 2 Miramars, it's going to be tough. But also, we're talking a lot about the top of the table. What about the bottom of the table, man? DRS, they're back at 11th place. Who knows for how long? Winning out in the tiebreaker right now, currently with Chicken Dinners, but they're tied in points with RRQ Ryu, who has been down towards the bottom of the leaderboards for such a long time. I don't think they've ever made it out of bottom 12.
I don't think they have. They were in like 16th position at some point. But looking at these last 3 matches, no joke, it's been a different team in 11th every time, it feels like. And sometimes they're there just for, it feels like 5 minutes, Jason. They're just, it's so close between all these squads. But again, Highlights is so competitive to just make in survival stage. So even making it to the grand finals is even more competitive at the top. But we're getting down to now just Miramar. And yeah, again, I think we might have completely different teams in the bottom 5 and the top 3 by the end. Of course, normally just one team in the top 3 should be different, but it is exceptionally close. And predicting is going to be really tough because, again, it's down to one game. One good game is all you need, and you might go to all the finals or the survival stage. So it's a tough one, man, to wrap up the day.
Dude, I don't think there's a DRS gaming fan on the planet that has any nails left. Right? I mean, come on. I mean, it's just been a roller coaster of emotions for these guys. It's getting brutal.
Are you saying their toenails are gone as well?
Oh, both of them, dude. Bite them all off at this point because this is nerve-wracking.
They already got 2? Wait. I should go to the doctor. What?
He said, yeah, both of them. I'm like, oh, I think I got more than 2 toenails. I don't know if you guys
very stubby feet, man.
All right, well, it is time to get serious here because we got about 15 seconds left before we head into our first Miramar of the two, our penultimate match in our last group here in the PMGC 2024 league stage. It's all going to be kicking off. It's all coming down to this. John on a blank, why don't you dive us straight into the last two matches of the day?
We've got 3 tickets to stamp on over for our teams. I suppose